Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rob with Untitled Car Project here with
Grant Gonzalez
and
Jeremy Bull.
Nice. So we are, oh boy, about a week removed from SEMA.
back to paradise.
Back to work every day, just like you guys, and it sucks, man. It sucks. But we're here. We want to review what we saw, the grandeur that was SEMA, our first time experiences, stuff like that. Man, it was something else.
I've got one benefit of being back.
What?
My feet don't hurt anymore.
Whatever.
That's why half the people there had rascals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I will say, are we going to also give a review of Apex?
No.
No,
Nope.
We'll get to that later.
we had to have time for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's diving right in. That's kind of part of it. The thing was so freaking big, we could not even see it all. I
yeah.
feel like we may have covered maybe 75% of what was at the SEMA side.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
like personally, some of it that we went through, I went through it pretty quick because I wasn't super interested in what was going on in those particular halls.
Yeah.
I did the tire haul really quickly.
Yeah, me too. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking of. And the car electronics. Wasn't really interested in car stereo stuff.
Yeah.
I meandered through that one a little slower.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like, especially Thursday, I got a good grasp of everything. But that being said, that was the day I felt like the one thing I rushed was the 4x4 section.
Yeah.
And that was more than 4x4s, actually, campers and sports cars and all sorts of things that I was not expecting.
Yeah, I would have spent a little more time there too had I known, I guess, what was there to see.
Yeah.
Before we get too deep, I do want to give a shout out to Chad, C10 Truck Nerd.
Woo!
Dude hung out with us all week at SEMA. We went out to dinner and stuff after the show because we were all kind of doing our own thing during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a really good time. Any of our listeners, if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, you should. C10 Truck Nerd on YouTube.
As well as follow him on Instagram.
Sure. Do all the follow things. Do us a favor. Hit follow if you're first time listening to the podcast. Just take a look at it. It's right there, the follow button. Just click that.
Yeah.
Help us build an empire. Or even just a little, podcast following.
I will say I'm really glad we met him and
Yeah.
invited him to be the fifth on our show. So
Yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah.
I don't think our SEMA experience would have been the same without him and without Ian. Like the five of us together, that was an unforgettable experience.
Yeah, super good. Man, talk about a good time. Good friend bonding experience. I mean, to experience something like that for the first time, I mean, SEMA's pretty epic.
Yeah.
I mean, just overall, I've heard about it for years. I always watch the social media of SEMA after the show. People post all their stuff. But
for like months.
yeah, for months. And I could definitely tell when the show was over because the
Oh, yeah.
posting started,
Yeah.
hitting pretty hard and heavy. But damn,
I felt
to
like
actually be there was epic.
Yeah. I felt like as much as we could have prepared for it, it's nothing to when you're there in person.
No, I
Like,
wasn't ready. Not for that.
I want to give my recant of showing up.
Okay.
Okay.
So I showed up, the day after you guys did.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I kind of knew what to expect. I didn't know on what scale.
We should preface this that it's also was the opening day of SEMA. We got there the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get there opening day of SEMA. It's probably closer to 11 o'clock by the time I got over to the Venetian to get my tickets.
Yeah.
And I walk in and I go to like 3 different places trying to figure out where to actually get my tickets from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally found the right place. After like 45 minutes of looking through the Venetian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I get my pass, the big badge that you got to wear around the SEMA show. And I'm like, I called you guys. I'm like, okay, I'm here. Where are you guys at? Oh, we're over at the SEMA show. What?
Yeah.
I'm not there?
You're right. Yeah. You mean that's not it?
And Rob's like, no. We're over in North Hall, over at the Expo Center. I'm like, okay, I'm going to map it and I'll show up. So I mapped it. Mind you, I walked from our hotel to the Venetian. That took me 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, okay, got my badge. I'm going. I mapped it. It was another 35 minutes to North Hall. So I get over to North Hall and I'm like, okay, I'm here. Which room do I go to?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it turns out I said North Hall because I was a little turned around and lost myself.
Yeah.
We were not in North Hall.
No. You guys were in Central
We were in
Hall, I
Central
think.
Hall.
Yeah.
So, mind you, 15 minutes of that walk was trying to walk by the West Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
So, and then, I crossed the street, get to North Hall, kind of started wandering through there looking for you guys. Lo and behold, you guys aren't even there.
Right.
And then I think like an hour after I had got there, I finally figured out where you guys were at and started meandering that way. So fast forward to, as we're getting ready to wander out for the day, right? I think Grant, Ian, and I decided it was probably time to wander out or it was going to get really busy. I can't remember if you were there or not.
I don't.
You stayed later to watch drifting.
Yeah, I was there later, yeah.
So as I'm following Grant and Ian down to the monorail,
Yeah.
we walk by two more
Halls.
giant buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm like, are these part of that? Ian goes, yeah. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In total, I think there was 5 halls, just on the SEMA side, 5 halls and 2 giant outdoor exhibits. 3. We had the truck off-roading, the drifting, and then we had the Optima.
Optima, yeah.
Yeah. And that's only one whole side of SEMA. That was not including the Apex section,
Right.
Yep.
Which was a whole nother,
the sizable event.
yeah.
Yeah, massive convention space. Yeah, that we never even got to.
Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed we didn't. And the only reason is I really wanted to see that technology area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bummed I didn't make the time to actually go over and find it.
But that's the thing is if you're going to SEMA, you can make time for stuff, but I mean, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah,
That's right. Like I said, felt like, I don't know if you guys agree with it. I felt like out of our whole group, I was able to get to every single building and every single thing in terms of SEMA. But a lot of it was, especially towards the end, was fast forward running it and just be like running, okay, see something interesting, go, talk, maybe a couple minutes, and then go to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
you went pretty fast forward for sure.
I mean,
I think for next year, like looking forward, the whole plan thing will play a key.
Well, it'll be different too
Yeah.
because I agree. Like I just even coming into this year, I thought, well, I'm not going to go in with a lot of expectations because I needed to get the lay of the land and kind of it's a learning year, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Figure it all out. And I'm glad that I went in with that mindset because I did learn a lot and I do feel like I will approach it differently next year.
yeah.
There are areas that I just don't need to see. It
Yeah.
doesn't pertain to project car people in the way that I want to look at it, right?
Sure.
So I'll talk to more of the people in the central hall where it's the hot rods and the resto mods and all that stuff. You know, those are the ones that really pertain to how I want to approach the show. And then I'll spend time in the off-road section because honestly, that was really cool.
That was really cool.
It was really cool. The overland vehicles and the off-road, and there was just really great stuff there. And honestly, the off-road hall was set up better than Central Hall.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was cleaner, but they tried to pack in way more stuff probably into Central Hall just because of the sheer volume of resto mod and hot rod stuff and rebuilders and all that. I get it, but we spent a little time in the tool section, which while it was cool, I didn't know how to approach it for the show necessarily. There's a lot there, and there's a lot there that project car guys can use.
Oh, 100%.
But I always look at it through the eyes of the guy that's on a fairly tight budget. Like
Yes.
a lot of the stuff that is there is just uber expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot there's like you're just going to go in off the street and pay $100 and I got this cool gadget that does whatever, you know.
I feel like
for.
there was in the first time exhibitor hall for
yeah,
those.
I
and
saw
that,
some of
and
that.
that is a hall that I know all of us didn't get to see until the last day. And
I spent Wednesday afternoon over there.
yeah,
And you're right. That cuz it wasn't part of the tool section, but the first time exhibitor and first time
technology.
technology, yeah. That stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
It was showcased really well, and it had a lot to do with Restomod and replacing outdated parts that aren't available anymore. You know,
Yeah.
just a lot of stuff like that. And I thought that was awesome.
It was nice also going to that hall. Me and David started walking that one,
Yeah.
and we spent a couple hours there. It was anytime you went to a booth or even passed by, people were excited because they wanted to tell you about their product. They want to say why you need this, what's so amazing about it.
Yeah,
How can
and
help?
it didn't
And
have
that
it didn't have the sales pitch feel to it either.
Yeah.
They were just there to tell you what they've got and what they're doing, and that was pretty cool.
I got a different take.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of time in the tool hall.
Yeah.
I actually went in there 2 different times for several hours.
So did I.
And
I could see spending the time. I was just
yeah.
trying to use it kind of like, how am I going to use this for the show? Really, I had that mindset.
yeah,
I don't think it paid off, but that's what I was trying to do.
so. I kind of did the same thing. I did get some contacts while I was there.
Good.
For a couple different things that will hopefully line up shows for.
yeah,
I kind of don't want to go into that part, but
that's fine. I mean, we can touch on it, and
yeah.
it's hopefully for future episodes. And,
Oh yeah,
you know,
100%.
hopefully listeners hear it and say, "Oh, I might want to listen to that later on."
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll touch on it a little bit. Lifts and hoists,
Yes.
stuff like that. I looked at that really heavy. Storage. I looked at
Oh, good.
several different versions of that.
Yeah.
And then some of the paint stuff I looked at.
Mm-hmm.
But the portable paint booth.
I was hoping you'd bring that one.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that one's cool.
So that one was cool, and I did get the information, and I
Yeah.
talked to one of the guys over
I
there.
need to snag that from you, by the way.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they've got a couple different sizes,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a really interesting technology, and it
I think it's a great idea.
for the backyard builder,
Yeah.
I think it's a really important tool.
Yeah.
What was, without giving too much away, was it cost effective? You know, for the backyard builder.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you're still looking at about $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah. So you're going to want to be able to use it multiple times, right?
Yes.
It's not something you're just going to buy it once for your one project.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're
I mean,
just
maybe you do,
doing-
and then you sell it to your neighbor or whatever that also wants to do it.
right, or you're buying it as a big group of guys, maybe 10 guys go in on it or something like that.
Yeah, that might, yeah.
Or you buy it and rent it out.
Well, that could be too.
That's true
a
on that
good
one.
point.
So
Anyway, yeah. So listeners, listen up for that in the future. We'll hopefully get some people on the show to talk about that.
yeah, I think that one was pretty.
I was going to say about the tool room, kind of like you were saying, keep an eye out looking for, what the a home builder would do.
Yeah.
And Jeremy trying to find that technology. One thing that I was focused on was getting answers. The one thing about SEMA that I found out really quickly was SEMA is a place where you go where the experts are there and the people that are building the cars or building the tools are there. And so we're talking about tools was Milwaukee. We talked all week.
I thought that this would come up.
Here's your plug.
I thought this, and he's going to do it right now.
Yep, do it.
Grant, can you make me a cup of coffee?
I would love to,
Yeah?
but you know the problem?
What's the problem?
I don't have a coffee maker set up.
What?
I know.
Why not?
Nobody.
You've
builds
got all
everything
these
with a
Milwaukee
coffee
tools.
maker.
You don't have a coffee maker?
I know.
Huh.
So for those wondering, is the one thing I've been on my mind for about past 6 months is why Milwaukee doesn't make a battery-powered coffee maker. The only other competitor tool,
Milwaukee, we're calling you out right now.
we are calling you out. The only other,
I don't think it's just Milwaukee though. Nobody has one.
no, that's
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
about to say is
Their competitor has
there's
it.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Makita's the only one who makes a coffee maker.
Yeah.
Guys, you better
And-
get on this quick.
So
Exactly.
that's the thing is, and again, I went to the Milwaukee booth, walked around, saw someone, and I said, "Who do I need to talk to? He's either an engineer or the project management." And the guy's like, "Oh, well, that's me. What do you need to know? What do you have?" I said, "Perfect." And I said, "I've been thinking about and mulling about this for months. I need to know because Milwaukee makes so many variety of tools. Why don't you guys make a coffee maker?" And it hit that guy, just stunned him. It took him to make one sentence about probably 60 seconds. He's like, "Well, the thing, you see, well, we tried to." And I go, "Okay, you tried to. What happened with it? I got to know." and he told me that in the past they actually did look at the coffee maker. The problem was battery technology way back when wasn't up to par for what they could make for coffee. And he goes, but, and he's, as he's talking to me, you just see the gears turn. He goes, but that's not a bad idea. Why would you be interested in that? Why would anyone be going for that? And I brought up him. I said, well, the problem is you guys are advertising your pack out system like crazy. If I'm on a job site, I don't want my guys having to show up late because they want coffee. If you have your pack out system right there with a battery M12 already on there, you're always going to have water bottles. You're always going to have your K-cups to throw in there, which means drive thing. And you got, your coffee. Boom. Right next person. You're never going to run out of batteries on a job site.
Fresh coffee, man.
Exactly.
On the job site.
And he's like,
awesome.
He's like, that's actually a pretty good idea. And I said, yeah, it all came from racing though.
Coffee at the job site, at the track, camping.
Yep. I would totally buy one and
Hunting
put it
camp.
in my car trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have a coffee maker in there, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would absolutely do that.
Yeah. So I told him, like, it came from racing. And he goes, what do you mean? Well, I said, well, if I'm racing at the track, if I get up in the morning, they'll make coffee, I've got to start my generator up and then plug in my coffee maker and do all that. Or the other alternative is I've got to drive 10 minutes away to go get coffee and then come back. And if I'm awake enough to driving at coffee, then I don't need coffee. I'd rather get up bed, push a button with my battery already into it and make coffee right there and have the day ready to go.
Yep.
And he's like, that's a really good idea and a really good argument. He's like, I'm going to bring this up. This is something we need to reopen because you made a really damn good case.
It'd be even better if you could set it up to go off at 6 a.m.
Ooh, a
Yeah.
timer.
No, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a hard technology.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about SEMA is if you had questions on tools, about products, about whatever, there's a representative there, representing their company that's going to bring it to their attention.
Yeah.
I even made sure the next day I came back, talked to some other people from Milwaukee too. So, everyone had on their mind the coffee maker.
Grant was drilling it in. He was making sure that his point got across. And it's really
think
funny.
he
I have
wasn't the only one that said it.
Maybe not. I have a little backstory to that. So Ian and I were wandering around tool section, and we'd all gone up there. Me and Grant and Ian went up there at the same time, and Grant just beelined it for Milwaukee, and we're like, all right, whatever. So we're wandering around, looking at lifts, looking at some other stuff, and then we eventually wander over to Milwaukee, and there he is, just hammering this guy. He's talking with his hands, and he's, the whole thing, and we're just kind of standing back, arms crossed, looking at him like, yep, there he goes, doing his thing. No, it was actually really funny.
Did you get his contact
I
information?
did. And he actually did say he'd like to be on the show.
Nice.
Yep.
So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, and on a similar experience with Milwaukee, is they showed us some new products they're coming out. Because I went to one representative, what do you got that you can't tell me? He goes, I can't tell you. And I said, okay, well, what do you have here that's coming out soon so I could tell our listeners? And he's like, oh, I could do that. He showed me 5 new products that was coming out this upcoming year, next 6 months. And that was kind of cool, seeing technology that, is not online.
Yeah.
But what was even cooler was, again, another engineer I was talking to, and he was showing me this new light system that got set up that's, covered by a magnet. And I said, I've got a suggestion for an improvement for this. And he goes, what? And I said, well, if it's magnetized and you're having a work stamp light attachment, you're going to get this covered in metal shavings. There's no real way to get rid of it.
Yep.
It already comes with a rubber gasket on it to clean it, but you can't, and we showed it, it doesn't stick when the rubber gasket's on it. And I said, if you took, the 10 cents it would take to just put a couple metal slats in that rubber, well, now you could keep it magnetized with the rubber on it, and when you want to clean it, you just take and shake the rubber off. And again, bringing back SEMA, is because you can bring ideas to these people that haven't thought.
You can talk to them there.
Because they can think everything they want behind the computer on the desk, but actually having real world input from their customers stuff.
That's true.
Yep.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
There was one other. And I think it was maybe the next day we went down and talked to the AP Racing guys. Or was it AP or no? You were the Hawk Pad guys. That's who it was.
The Hawk pads, yeah.
Yeah. So you were hammering those guys about why you're melting your brake pads or something like that.
And that was interesting because they were like, what?
Yeah, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. And it was cool. They gave me new suggestions. But on top of that, they they were adamant. They're like, we want to see this. Send us photos. We want to know what our product is doing and how it's handling.
Right.
You know, because most time if you're online trying to contact company, it's like send an email to an endless place, which is going to get lost, or talk on the phone to a computer that may or may not get you to someone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that can be frustrating for sure. But they were very interesting. Plus, for our autocross guys, Hawk is coming out with a new autocross specific pad.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
HPX is what they're calling it. A little more aggressive than an HP Plus, but not as much as getting into the DTC series.
Correct.
So,
And I believe they said you could still use it on the street.
yeah, still a streetable
That
pad.
is definitely something I want to test on Liger this year.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
The one place we didn't get to talk to, which I was surprised about, was did any of you guys talk to Hoosier?
I never saw them.
Jeremy, did you?
I did walk by Hoosier.
Did they have a booth? I never saw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is way in the back. They did have a booth. I wandered by after wandering through endless amounts of Asian tire places.
Yeah, they lost my interest with all that, and that's
Yeah.
probably why I didn't get far enough in to find Hoosiers.
And
I really thought it would be a bigger, like, great big purple crack sign there, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it was a big,
Yeah,
pretty big booth.
yeah.
Not like the Milwaukee booth by any stretch, but it was a pretty good sized booth.
Yep.
And it was way in the back.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I actually did want to talk to him
Yeah.
because I wanted to inquire about, the tread depth and the SCCA and why did they go that route, knowing that it's not legal for SCCA, and
Yeah. The one I didn't find was Yokohama.
they were there.
Yeah.
saw
I know
plenty of-
I know they were there.
Yeah.
I just never
Yeah.
came across them.
Yeah,
It was interesting because even though we didn't see Hoosier, it was brought up a lot. I think
absolutely. I think that was very strategic on their part.
Yeah.
They came out with that tire 3 weeks or 4 weeks ahead of SEMA. I mean, come on.
even non-tire places at SEMA, we were going in, people were talking about
Yeah.
those attacks,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So
blame 'em.
should we tell our listener real fast what that tire is and why the controversy?
Go ahead.
Do it.
I don't know it fully. I know you do, Rob.
Okay. So the Track Attack Pro is what it's called. It is Hoosier's new 200 treadwear, quote unquote, street tire. So it's to allow you to compete in a street tire class because you have to run 200 treadwear. The issue is their tread depth is too shallow by like a 32nd or something.
2:30 seconds.
Two 30 seconds, so a 16th. It's too shallow to be legal for SCCA competition because it's a 532 and it has to be a 732, I believe. So, but it's legal for other stuff like probably Optima, Global Time Attack, other smaller Time Attack series, that kind of stuff. I might be speaking out of my ass a little bit because I haven't checked their rule book, but I think it's legal for those things. The tire gets really good reviews. I'm anxious to try it. The issue I see with it is it's, $75 more per tire than the next closest competitor.
And that's a big investment in autocross,
Huge investment.
especially depending like if you're testing out a tire for the first time and it's the most expensive tire of its class,
Right.
it better be good or last.
Yeah, it better last.
Because like for example,
That was the issue that I'm curious about is how does it hold up to heat and melting and, the reviews I've heard say it holds up really well.
Yeah.
So that's good news. Unlike, say, the Yokohama Advan AO52, it does not hold up to heat, but it's a damn sticky tire. So
Yeah.
if you can keep it cool, you're going to run really good lap times. So,
but it'd also be interesting to see it with like a heavier car like mine, because like the one thing I've noticed with
which, the Advan or
the Hoosiers, because we've talked about, like you've told me the AO52's last, but I've talked to other people with a little bit lighter cars than mine that have burned through them quickly.
Sure.
And it'd be interesting to see if the Hoosiers, if they last, because like the sidewall may flex more or whatever, and it might be great in the Miata but terrible in the Challenger.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. Yeah, it'll be interesting as more people start to use it, like you said, in heavier cars and whatnot. Like my car is, I think it's average for a sport, street / race car.
Yeah.
At 3,200 pounds, it's 1,000 pounds lighter than yours. So I'm sure that has something to do with, burning through tires and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway,
I
I'm anxious to try it. I don't know how soon I'll try it. It depends on cost and what else is available. And if maybe I'm flush with money that week and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm buying some.
yeah.
I don't know.
I just realized something. Yeah, we'll keep this in the show. I just realized, because we're talking about tires, and this was about the same time this came up, was the Nemesis.
Yeah. Try on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to SEMA. We get off tires. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, I know we reached out to them, and they definitely want to come on our show at some point. But I don't know how much we should talk about their product and their car.
Oh, I should touch on it for sure.
Okay.
We don't have to go super in depth, but yeah.
I don't know. So we saw met at SEMA, a startup hyper supercar company with a lot of interesting claims and new technology. I know us as a group, we had a good amount of questions to see if it could be possible, and if not, we definitely want to have them on to talk about what's going on with a electric hybrid supercar that reaches 270 miles an hour, fits 4 people inside of it, has a drone capability of an automatic release, has wireless charging up to 20 feet away with batteries that you can put in a charger, and can charge cars at a distance.
Yep. Keep in mind, these are all things that they told us as we're standing there talking to them about their car. Now, beautiful, beautiful mock-up.
Great looking car.
They did not have a working display. They had a model of the car there. But they were all very excited about it. And, the guys that we were talking to were definitely ground floor idea guys. Like, this is what they were aiming for. This is what they wanted to do.
Well, we did have one of their lead engineers on there. I talked to him a little bit.
Did you?
The main thing was, anytime I talked to someone and they got to a question they didn't know, it would go to the next person. And that would start another conversation up.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to the next person.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. They are coming out with a full model, or not model, an example. At Formula One, they're unveiling it, the pure electric version.
Yeah, they were going to unveil the electric. So that that was the other thing, is they're going to do 2 versions of it. One is internal combustion engine version. The other is full electric version.
Yeah, one, I believe it was a hybrid, isn't it? For the
I didn't hear it that way,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
yeah. The engine that they're having is a quote unquote blueprint design engine.
Correct.
So that was kind of neat hearing about that. And for those who don't know, those are just really high performance, well built engines.
Right.
Yeah.
They were also, actually, when we were there talking to them about the car, the guy from Blueprint was there talking to their engineer.
Yeah.
Working, talking about being a supplier for them or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. I mean, it was out in the open. They were talking right there, so I'm not blowing them out for anything. So hopefully they're
But yeah,
working out their details.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see after Formula One where they're at and do some more research and get them on the show and talk to them, because I know us and our listeners would probably have dozens of questions to ask them.
It is kind of interesting. I mean, it's all to do with project cars, because I mean that's like the ultimate project, right? You're going from ground zero. I've got nothing to a concept on a napkin kind of thing, and into actual some kind of production. I mean that's.
Yeah. If they go into production, we ought to see if we can go and test it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, yeah, hopefully we can reach out to those guys, make contact, and see if they want to come on the show and talk about it. And you know what might be good too, and this is just thinking out loud here, do it after Formula One, so that when they unveil their model, their working concept, their concept car, it'd be nice to talk to them after that, kind of feel out how it went and that kind of stuff, and if it played out the way they wanted to.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool.
Speaking of Formula One, what do you guys think with SEMA and its arrangement with the Formula One construction going on? Do you think that was still efficient? Do you think the city was under chaos?
Well, honest opinion, so it was a freaking mess. Las Vegas is a freaking mess right now with all the Formula One stuff going. I don't think there's anything they can do about it. Like, it's going to be that way probably every year moving forward, because it's always coincides with that. SEMA happens 3 weeks before the Formula One event, so Yeah, it's just a freaking mess. There's so much construction going on down there.
Unless they build a track.
Permanent track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Aren't they planning on
don't-
to?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
No. It's all street circuit.
But even if they did, though, I feel like that takes half the charm away because you're racing down the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they have a plan to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I think it went as smoothly as could be, with the circumstances, with all the Formula One BS. I mean, it was kind of cool to see some of the Formula One cars that they had down there, Red Bulls, and then they had the 2024 rules FIA car, that rainbow colored one. That one was for the one that they rolled out when the current regulations started.
Okay.
That was their preview car. And then there was a Racing Point, a BWT car. I guess it's not Racing Point anymore. But that one was inside Link Casino, I think is where that one was. So that was neat to see those.
I thought it was kind of cool, like when you'd be walking the strip and you get to see all the lights going up, and like this is literally we're on the track.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like walking outside. Like the Vegas is the track.
Yeah, it was everywhere too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy where we stayed, looking out the back window or that big window.
Track
and the
was right
freaking
there.
Tracks there. The grandstands are right there.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
Grandstands and the pit building
Yeah.
where they have the skyboxes and stuff was all right there.
Yeah.
Kind of neat. It was beside SEMA, but honestly, I felt like even for that, it flowed pretty well because pretty much everybody used the monorail to get back and forth. I mean, that was a shit show.
Which is good and bad.
Good and bad. Yeah, we overcrowded it multiple times just because everybody's trying to come and go at the same time. But once they figured that out after the first day's debacle, I think they helped the flow by monitoring traffic onto the monorail.
Still need to give our listeners a heads up, though, for the fact of if you do go to SEMA and plan on doing that, if you leave towards the end of the show, the monorails, everyone's leaving at once. Ubers, whatever. Plan on taking a while to get back to your place. I think the first day left at 3:30, an hour and a half before, and that wasn't too bad. The second,
No, we were right at the beginning of the crowd.
and then at the second day we left at, I think me and Jeremy and Ian left at like 4 o'clock,
Pretty close.
and we had about maybe a half hour wait in line. Whereas Chad
I didn't think it was that bad.
had over an hour and a half wait though.
Right, but he left at like 5:30.
Yeah, and then the flip side is, the last day, you and me, Rob, we stayed after the show. We're lucky enough to have a friend of mine who was working and less stay for another half hour or so, and that was significantly reduced on time getting on the monorail.
It was. We also got on at a different stop than we usually did.
That's true.
Because the one that drops you right into the convention center was the one that was overcrowded.
Yeah,
But we went down. We were further down towards Westlake. We went down to that one and got right on.
yeah.
No issue. Yeah, just some nuances of being at SEMA. So let's back up just a little bit. Like, I'll start with Grant. Give me your overall experience of SEMA. Like, you were bouncing off the walls excited. We were all very excited, but Grant shows it a lot more than the rest of us.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Wow, how'd that all get changed on? I know the first day I was overwhelmed, and I'm very glad we got there on the Monday.
Me too.
Because if the day before the show, it would have been really disastrous coming in that overwhelmed with that many people.
The day of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. The one thing that I felt we had a different experience than most of our friends in the past who have gone was the fact we got media passes.
Yeah,
That made the experience a whole different thing. Going into any booths, as soon as they saw that badge, people's like attitudes would change. They'd want to talk to you, go through, especially if all of us were walking in with, same matching shirts or whatever. They're like, oh, these guys, and let's hear them out, and et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. The first experience at SEMA, I just was overwhelmed. Like you said, I was running around and stuff. But that's the other thing. I was the only guy there with the orange shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
Grant wore one of his bright orange cone-colored Untitled Car Project podcast shirts.
That was
every
the only
day.
way we could leash him in.
It was pretty odd. Yeah, we didn't have to put the dog leash on him.
No.
The kitty leash. But we could look out across the crowd, and he was the only one wearing orange.
And it
we
was
could find him.
It was awesome because not only could you guys find me, but I'd have random people and celebrities. They'd be like, "Hey, orange shirt guy, get over here," you know, because I'd be the hyper bouncing up guy. I'm like, "Hey, yeah, let's take a photo."
Yep.
And it's just as fun. I really enjoy the interactions. I think also my biggest impression from SEMA was not only the memories, but I'm going to just say MVP was the Polaroid camera.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah, I would agree.
you know, that made the most memories and that got the most attention. And
It did get a lot of attention.
Oh,
That
it
was
was
pretty
so
awesome.
fun.
It got a lot of views too
it did get a lot of
on
views.
the What No Way guys.
What? No way.
Yeah. What's it up to?
189,000.
Holy
It's his most viewed TikTok video from SEMA so far.
That's hilarious.
So for our listeners knowing is we ran into the What No Way guy from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, who does little shorts and reviews on random things.
I'd love to be able to pronounce his last name, but his first name's Sean.
His name's Sean, yeah.
Yeah.
And we ran into him multiple times. The first day was hilarious because Ian and Rob and Jeremy were doing their own thing. I was in line for Jay Leno. I was super excited, which we'll talk about Jay Leno in a hot minute.
Okay.
So, and as we're sitting there, the What No Way guy passes by. And I stopped because literally the night before, all of us
Yep.
were a little bit inebriated, just saying
What?
quotes.
No way.
Just saying quotes from his show. And I'm like, "Hey, are you," and without even skipping a beat, just not even saying regular words, I'm like, "Are you the What No Way guy?"
That was loud.
And he goes, "Yeah, that's me." I'm like, "Oh man, can I get a picture with you?" He goes, "Oh sure, why not?" So pull him over, grab the Polaroid, take a photo, and he's kind of sitting there like, "What?" And then it prints it out, and I'm like, he's like, "Is that a Polaroid?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm waiting for the line." He goes, "That's really cool." I'm like, "Oh, you can keep this one. Let's take another one." He goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, take another one. Take it for us." And so it prints out the same. The whole time he's looking at the photo I gave him. He's shaking it. And I get my photo. And he goes, "Oh, that's really neat. Thank you so much." The whole time I'm like, "Say the line. Say the line." So, but
Say it.
then we met up with him, you know, a couple days later. And that was cool. The whole crew. I'm sorry, Rob.
Chad ran into him.
Yeah, Chad ran into him the next day.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I know your buddy." He's like, "Out of all the things I got was that Polaroid camera or photo. I remember that really well."
Yeah, yeah.
And then the following day, we met him up again.
Yep.
And that was the coolest because we asked him if he would be interested in using our camera for a TikTok video because great What No Way. And he did a whole What No Way video. We got to see it live, how he does it. And that was so cool.
So the funniest part of that is he's like, "I don't even know how I would do this," and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And he's like, he was pulling his phone out in his other hand, right? And he's like, the wheels are turning.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, like probably 5 seconds after the camera was handed to him, he's pushing go on the phone and making a video. And I'm like, no way.
What? No way.
We had walked
sakes.
We had walked away and looked up that video on TikTok, and within 30 seconds had 1,500 views, was already hashtagged and everything.
Yep.
And it was impressive watching him work.
So in the 90 seconds it took us to walk across the hall to like just get up to the wall, you know, out of the way.
Yep.
So Chad and Grant and I could talk for a second. We looked at it and it had 1,500 views.
Yeah. Nuts.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
He has just on TikTok 4.6 million followers and 57 million likes. So and it was interesting, you know, meeting a celebrity like that. And that's another thing I wanted to say was at SEMA, celebrities were everywhere.
Yep.
Even and that's the thing is they could walk around and people wouldn't hassle them because like some celebrities you would know like Jay Leno, most people know,
Yep.
but you would see like a YouTube star with like 5 million views. And unless you watch his channel or specifically, let's say an off-road channel or racing, you wouldn't know him. Be like, "Oh, that's nice to meet you," you know?
Right. Yeah.
And that was pretty wild. And it was an SEMA experience was just being starstruck, but not so much where it's like, well, and we'll get to that, where it was, you know, couldn't do anything because these people acted and they are normal people. They talk to like normal people. They're excited to say, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
You know, what's new?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it was good.
You know, should we talk about the Jay Leno?
Well, I mean, this is probably as good a time as any.
Okay.
I mean, this is your part of
This is
How you
this is
felt
your
about
experience
SEMA.
about
Okay.
SEMA. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, so I I've always been a Jay Leno fan. I'm excited. I was excited to meet him, and was able to. And this is the only time I could believe that I actually was speechless and couldn't say a word coming back after meeting Rob and Ian after that.
I have never seen Grant so shaken up. Never, like, literally, he was speechless. He was like, I don't know what to say.
And that was,
he was shaking. And he was like, I was like, dude, take a breath.
That was a bucket list for me. I'm not really huge into celebrities, but the two people I want to meet and have is Jay Leno, which I have.
Yep.
And I think the other one who I'd be the same tug tie would be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
I could see that.
Yeah.
One of my childhood heroes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how much to go into this because we can branch off to other stuff. But, I mean, the fact of the first day, like I said, getting feet bearing. Second day was a good grip on it. Mm-hmm. Wednesday felt like not much done that day. We had moved hotels.
Yeah.
We had gone.
That's something that won't happen next year.
Yeah, and
we fucked off on Wednesday. I mean, we got 4 hours at the show, probably.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
And I'm a little disappointed in that.
I recommend to any of our listeners, if you're going to SEMA,
We'll talk more about that. By
have a single day where you check in and check out and don't change locations.
Probably most people did, but
Yeah.
it was just our circumstance.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Thursday was a day where it was like, okay, we lost day hyper focused. I don't know if you guys have seen me that much go.
You were a rock star on Thursday, dude.
I
You
went
for it.
100%.
I went from 200 photos that day to about 800 taking.
Right.
I don't even know how many people I talked to. I would probably say actually sat and had conversations with maybe about 25, 30 people. And then handing out Polaroid photos with, and telling them about their cars and all sorts of stuff, at least, 70, 80 photos, something crazy.
Yeah.
And it was a rush. It felt good. I feel like that's what SEMA, it shouldn't have been that crazy.
I think if we'd have got a full day on Wednesday, it would have been less
Exactly.
pressure for Thursday because just so everybody knows, we decided not to go back on Friday because Friday is open to the public. Now, the public has to buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. It's not cheap, but it's open to the public, and everybody else that we talked to said Friday's a friggin' zoo. And we were like, you know what, we can do something else, which we can talk about a little bit later because that was awesome too.
Yeah.
So we decided to skip Friday. And I don't feel bad about that at all.
The only one of us who didn't was Chad, and he's agreed.
Did he go back in Friday?
Had,
that's right.
He had interviews to do on that, and he said it was an absolute madhouse on that one.
Yeah. So I'm glad we skipped it.
Yeah. So full circle to the one other thing, or last thing, or whatever, because again, a lot I want to talk about on this podcast, just first impressions, I guess, of saying right now, was us being media.
Yeah.
That was... I've been to conventions and all sorts of stuff as a spectator, but going as media was a whole different story. Mm-hmm. We get there, they give us our pass, they say, oh, you're with media? They offer us, recording rooms, water, coffee tables. They say, here's a private thing if you need, paper pens, whatever you need.
Right.
The amount of swag, they're like, would you like by the way, I have your travel mug. No, water bottle in the truck.
Nice.
But we were given either option of that or the travel
backpack. Yeah,
which
super nice.
Oh, it's one of the best backpacks I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
That whole experience being that, I think, for me, what also made it super special was that, I mean, we worked our asses off to get to SEMA.
Yeah.
And us going there, super proud of us, but also for the fact that we went as
media.
Yep. Not everyone gets to do that.
Now, y'all, this is our first time, so we're gushing a little bit on it. Mm-hmm. But it was a great experience. And shit. I think we were planning for next year on Thursday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, so next year when we do this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've got lots of ideas for that too. So no, we're definitely going back.
With a T-shirt cannon.
That was cool. Did you see that T-shirt
I did.
cannon?
Should I tell you what my wife said about that?
Yeah.
What?
So she wants us to get 3 rooms. 3 in our condo, in our timeshare.
Uh-huh.
We'll front the coin up for it, and we'll do 1 big room, and then probably 2 double queens. So everybody can have their own bed this time. because that was weird.
That was weird.
It wasn't that
Where's
bad.
your hand?
Between two pillows.
That's just
Those aren't pillows.
I just annoyed I had to switch pants twice. That was annoying.
He had to wear pants because he was sleeping with me.
Yep.
And yeah, no.
And I had to
We're
switch
gonna have
to
our own
thinner
beds
pants
next
because it was
time.
too hot in the room.
So, and she said she'll come down if we go the weekend before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the weekend before is?
No.
NHRA Nationals.
Woo!
Oh.
So we'll go down probably Friday night, stay Saturday, Sunday, go to the drags, and then we'll stay in until Friday afternoon again.
Nice.
Yeah. Speaking of rooms, should we talk about our first room that we had?
Yeah.
That was a nice room.
Yeah.
So we got lucky enough to get a room at Caesars.
Not just
Two
any
rooms.
It was 2 rooms.
3.
Well, it was a suite
It was a suite.
with an adjoining room.
We, my old man, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, he got us a comped room because he spends a good amount in Vegas. Which I thought we were just getting a bedroom or 2.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And the fact is, my dad didn't even know that. And the fact is, we got a suite on the 67th floor at the Caesars Hotel.
68th. Don't sell us short.
No, 68th was top. We were at the one
No,
before.
69th was top.
Oh, that's true. We were at 68th.
Yeah.
But I've been in suites before, but I've never been in a suite where we had a full-on pool table.
Yeah.
I mean, this was wow.
Yeah.
You know?
It was it was pretty
cool.
sweet. Yeah, pretty sweet.
It was pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
You know, and
that
then the
place was awesome. I mean, and we took full advantage of it too.
oh yeah. So
It was good.
that was awesome, and then being able to have a living room to record and set up for that was nice too.
Yep. So, yeah, by the time you hear this, last week's episode is basically our day 1 rundown. Our whole plan going in was we were going to do some short recording sessions every night. Well,
We were so freaking tired by the end of the
that we
end of the
were.
day.
I would have done it anyway had we set up in one location. It would
Yep.
have been a lot easier to do, but being that we had to move hotels and that kind of stuff, it kind of put a damper on that.
Yeah.
And then we just took advantage of the evenings being free, and we went and did Las Vegas shit.
Yep.
And
That's where we made some memories.
yeah, there was one night Grant and I staggered back to the Caesars at 2 a.m. So
With the hooker
with the
following
hooker
us?
following us, yeah,
so-
yeah.
Oh, it was.
But that was a good
I
night.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
I heard it wasn't an us thing. I heard she was following you.
I don't know.
could have been.
Probably
Been.
just following
She
the
was-
bright orange cone.
Yeah, she was very attractive though.
Yeah.
I will say.
You know. Yeah. No, that was wild. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But the nights were interesting because we were planning on doing recording,
Yep.
and we did have one. But to give
did.
our viewers an idea of how tired we were, we actually started recording one, and we lost an hour and a half of recording.
I don't. It wasn't that much. It was
45 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 45 minutes
Yeah.
because some dumbass didn't hit record,
Hey, don't blame me.
and we were.
Speaking of that, let me look again.
Yeah, are we recording? God
We-
damn
we
it!
are. In two
No, I took full responsibility for that because it's. I just hate that shit.
It's okay. It happens to everyone.
It did. It happened. Whatever. We got through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were pretty tired.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I was more tired day 1 after we flew in on Monday.
Yeah.
Than I was like day 2, day 3. I got my second wind and just I was able to carry it through.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing was it was mentally draining on the first pre-show day.
Yeah.
Because we had no idea where anything was at.
Oh, I wanted to touch on that because Jeremy, you kind of outlined your first day in the show, which, the show had started on Tuesday and that's when you got there. Well, Ian, myself and Jeremy and Chad actually flew in on Monday.
Grant.
Grant, not
What
Jeremy.
did I say?
You said Jeremy.
said-
I'm
me.
sorry, Grant. Anyway, we all flew in on Monday, and so we got checked into the hotel and that kind of stuff, and all right, let's go get our passes.
Can I interrupt real fast? How was early morning flight with Grant? I know Ian enjoyed the very tired Grant, but very energetic.
Yeah, Ian was happy that he sat in the back of the plane.
With the crying baby.
Yeah, he was fine. He's like, I'd do that over Grant any day. Grant and I sitting on a plane. I had my noise canceling headphones out. I'm ready to just like chill out for an hour and a half on this flight. And Grant talked my ear off the entire way. I was
We
like,
had good
"Okay,
conversation."
we did. No, I'm not complaining. It was good. We got lucky. That was a full flight, and we had an empty seat between us.
Nice.
Anyway, so we get there, we get checked in, we decide to go pick up our passes, right? And we're like, I don't know which one we should do first. So we decided to ride the monorail down to the convention center.
Because we had 2 passes to 2 locations.
There was 2 locations to pick up passes, and we thought we had to go to both of them. Turns out, nah, not so much. But
Yes, we had to go both.
okay. Anyway, we go down to the convention center. There's a bunch of cars set up already in the parking lot. They're bringing in trucks. They're setting up the drift course and all this other stuff. So we had some stuff to look at. We wandered around a bit. And then we're like, all right, let's try to find the hall. We find that, go in, get passes. And this took 2 hours probably to get from hotel to actually where we were picking up passes. Just from wandering around a little bit and kind of being lost and all that stuff. Not too bad. Then we're like, okay, let's go up to the Venetian and figure that out. Another 2 hours later.
I think it was longer than that. Like
it could have been
3
longer.
hours.
It was long. It took freaking forever to find where we were supposed to go.
Yeah, because not only did we make it, once we did make it to the Venetian, there was construction happening for not only the casino itself, but there was construction happening for F1, and that made it crazy trying to navigate the casino. And then on top of that, no one there had an idea of what we were talking about.
Where we were supposed to go, yeah. They didn't know, and the signage wasn't very good until you got closer. Then it kind of figured it out. But also, we stopped by the Flamingo to hopefully Chad was going to drop
I forgot
off.
about that.
Because he's dragging his suitcase around.
Oh, I forgot about
yes, I'm going to...
Doug incident.
Yes. So we're standing in the lobby of the Flamingo. Chad's going to go check a bag or put it in holding. And I ordered Starbucks for everybody. I was like, I need a boost of caffeine. So we're standing there in front of the Starbucks waiting for coffee. It was all 4 of us were there. Yeah, all 4 of us were
Chad was
there.
gone.
No, he came back by then.
He did? Okay.
Yeah. So we're standing there waiting for coffee. And this random dude walks by and says, hey, do you guys want some beer? And before beer exited his lips, Ian was like, yes. Yes, I do. And we're like, what just happened? And the guy goes, the only catch is you got to follow me to my car. And we're like, holy fuck, no way. That's not going to happen.
Ian was right on his heels.
Oh, he was like...
Ian's like, yeah, I'm bigger than you. Okay, let's go.
I was convinced we were going to have a hangover moment before the actual show started of where's our Doug? Where's our Ian?
Yeah, exactly. So Ian just turns around, follows this guy off, and we're all standing there like, well, we may never see him again. This is weird. So we stand there waiting for our coffee. I don't know, 15 minutes later.
Like
yeah, like 15 minutes later, here comes Ian with 30 pack of beer. And we're like, okay, well, that paid off. Good job. And this dude, I don't know his name, don't know nothing about him. He was there to get married. Mm-hmm. Like just a elope wedding kind of thing. Known the chick a month and went and got married, and he had a whole bunch of beer left over, and he was flying out. So lucky us.
He told Ian, he's like, if you guys ever need refill, I got like an extra 200.
Yeah, but he was leaving or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty funny story.
Oh man.
After that, Ian carried this pack of beer around with him for quite some time, and we went to the Venetian and picked up our passes and got some swag, kind of figured out where we were going. It was an adventure, let me tell you.
Yeah.
A lot of walking, several hours worth of looking around.
Oh, man.
Oh.
And this is just day one.
This is day one, yes. We're walking from the Flamingo down to the Venetian, okay? Maybe we were going back to Caesars. I don't remember exactly. But there's this chick in front of us wearing a hoodie. Wearing a hoodie, okay?
Just a hoodie.
Just a hoodie. Nothing else.
No pants, no panties. She's drinking like an energy drink or something, just owning it. And we're like, what is happening?
I kept bugging Rob. I'm like, I'm not used to this. Is this really happening?
Yeah. We followed her a really long time. And yeah, she's just wearing a hoodie. And we're just like, okay, this is weird. But yeah, I leaned over and I was like, if you just own it, nobody says nothing. And this is Vegas. Nobody cares. Now, I couldn't smell it.
Yeah.
That was bizarre.
Yeah.
That was really bizarre. Funny. Added to the trip.
When in Vegas.
When in Vegas, yeah.
But it was worth it going to the Venetian because the first
Yeah,
time when we got our SEMA passes, it was not even lanyard, just kind of string tied around.
Yep.
But as soon as we got to the Venetian for our second pass, which we found out later was the same pass,
Was the same pass.
they gave us full on nice lanyards. They gave us, like we said, the backpacks, and I mean they were working on hand and feet, whatever we needed.
Oh yeah. They were like, "Oh, we've got the private conference rooms. You can use that. We've got refreshments back here. Come on in, do da."
That was so cool.
No, yeah, it was really great. Yeah, I really appreciated how they treated us. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And having never been a part of that, other media guys are probably like, yeah, they do that all the time. It's like, yeah, well, this
is our first time.
timers here. So
it would be cool next year to go up with those smaller portable recording devices and just do like maybe a small interview or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, something to take advantage of those rooms. I think it'd be an experience.
I mean, we have the recording device with two microphone outputs.
We just never used it.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else that really grabbed you, Grant? I mean, since we kind of hijacked your SEMA experience conversation, but
well, that's the thing is, do you want me to talk about the whole experience or just talk about like the first experiences?
I think just your overall, like, did you have fun?
I had fun.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things I thought was super, not overwhelming, interesting, something I wasn't expecting was when we went to Optima. Yes. Optima was the most interesting because it was cool seeing the cars, and I took a lot of Polaroids to give people, but it was very interesting because a lot of the race car drivers actually knew us.
Yeah.
And
those are my people.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we listened to your channel.
Yeah.
Or this guest was on, and we were so excited to hear them, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's when it was kind of not fangirling, but I was like, wow, we have more than one listener.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
these people actually have heard of us. That's really cool.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed that as well. I did spend quite a bit of time at Optima because I feel like those are true project car guys. I mean, not that the people in the halls aren't, because they are too, but like these guys are out here pounding their cars, doing the thing,
Mm-hmm.
Putting on a show.
Putting on a show.
Yeah.
Putting on a really good show. And I was trying to get some video and talking to a lot of those people. And yeah, a lot of them listened to our show and was like, hey, I wanted to meet you and this and that. And I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really fun. And I did spend extra time out there for that reason.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, touch bases with them and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. Got a great contact from Optima that we want to get on the show. He agreed. Probably sometime in December we'll have him on.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so that'll be cool too.
That was the one thing about SEMA was our goal was to make contacts and bring more content to our listeners.
Yep.
And I think we really accomplished that goal.
Yeah, I think
I think it'll pay off throughout the year for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So, I hope everybody can look forward to that and keep tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, yeah, you're like stoked with the experience.
I was stoked with the experience. I was stoked with meeting people. I met celebrities that I've seen on YouTube and just was unbelievable. And they were super nice people.
Yeah. I think that part is really cool too.
That
I mean,
was so cool.
It's funny to me, the whole YouTube celebrity thing, but they are. I mean, they're very popular, right?
Yeah.
And they're well known. So to meet them in person and actually have them be pretty cool is kind of neat.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest ones was meeting Sam Hard from Hard Up Garage.
Yep.
Meeting him in person, talking to him about the Countach build I've got. He's known for building replica cars and movie prop cars and just having a lot of fun projects. His personality online is exactly the same in person.
Man, that's what you hope for, right?
That was awesome.
You know who I met?
Who?
The C10 truck nerd.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He is very cool, man.
He lived up to the hype.
He did.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people there that, and more for me because I don't follow personalities much on either YouTube or whatever channels.
Yeah.
I recognize the builds.
Yeah.
And I all over the place. I was like, oh, I've seen this car. I know this one. Or, oh, I know that one. That happened to me every corner. I'd go around and be like, oh, I know this car.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that car. Do I know who it is that built it? By name or by face? I do not. But I should probably pay more attention to that. But I definitely knew the builds.
I feel like that's where I was kind of my thing because
that was your thing for sure.
Because I don't know the car builds because there's so many cars, but I would know the personalities and the people behind.
That's really funny because I knew the cars and you knew the people. That's pretty cool. Oh, somebody else that we met.
Tavares.
Well, you can talk about that.
So
I think you did. You did on our day one review
yeah,
episode.
I want to just back up a little bit, and Jeremy missed this part of it. So the one thing that we were planning on was there was a breakfast in the morning, a continental quote unquote breakfast for SEMA.
Oh, you did miss that.
And when I heard about that, I'm like, we're getting up early. It's going to be, maybe 100 people or so, which is nice. And I figured it'd just be kind of a get together, brightly lit room with, some,
Yep.
It was
Stage,
not-
whatever. Yeah.
This was a whole different experience. We enter the room. It's like dark. It's like a rave kind of. There's 2,000 people, obviously.
Yep.
There's a giant stage and awards and scream. I was like, what have we entered at 7 a.m.? Are you serious?
I know they had the music pumping. Like, yeah, it was
They brought us anything we wanted in terms of like coffee, Red Bull, whatever. And then our continental breakfast was actually amazing.
It was really good.
Breakfast burritos and all sorts of stuff.
Yep. Yeah, no, that was not expected. I mean, I saw it in an email that they sent out. Hey, join us for the SEMA show opening breakfast. People usually look forward to this kind of thing. And I'm like, hey, we should go to that. So we're all like, okay, got to be there at 7. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was neat because like that was the first time we got to a table and we got to meet people we've never met before, guys. You see and actually talk and socialize.
Yeah.
The gentleman that was next to me, I think his name was Doug. I'm sorry.
I know. I don't. I was trying to think of the guy.
I don't know if I got his contact. I know I gave him a contact for us though.
Okay.
But super nice guy, heavy, modern muscle car collector, and he worked for Apple. And it was interesting hearing his his projects and cars that he's got, as well as during the show, or the breakfast show, they were bringing up awards for products that won Best of SEMA in multiple categories. And him and me were talking like, oh, that sounds cool. I've never heard of this, or we should check this out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
The guy that I was sitting directly next to, again, don't remember his name. It was early on in the show, and but he was he'd had multiple business ventures and stuff, but he was there at SEMA to promote his screen protectors for cars because all the cars now have, touch screens and this and that.
Did you get his contact? I'd love to look into that.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I know, really bad.
Yeah.
You can Google
but
it.
he did have one on his phone, and he said this is the same material that we use on the screens.
Well, that's cool.
On the car screens, and it was like anti-glare and anti-fingerprint. Like you could not see fingerprints on it.
Wow.
It was really good. Yeah. Should have talked to him a little bit more, but the show kind of kicked off.
Yeah. And the breakfast was really handy because it also showed us what products to look out for. That's how you and me ended up at the F-250 extended range fuel tank.
Yes, actually, you're right.
And just different types of products like, hey, we really appreciate this. And that was a good starting point of like, start here, go to SEMA and check out these booths.
Yep.
At our table, I know we had 3 people that were from Hemmings magazines. I wish I would talk to them more, but they were across the table. I didn't want to be loud Grant talking over a loud crowd trying to have a conversation.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody in the hall would have heard that.
But why we brought up the breakfast thing originally was on stage at one point we had Jay Leno and we had Freddie Tavares going up and talking about their builds, talking about the McLarens and how they're going through. And as breakfast ended, we all leave. All 2,000 people, and you, me, Ian, and Chad are all just sitting there talking, and I look over, and Freddie's just walking by. And I'm like, that was the guy. That's a Freddie. I go, Freddie. He goes, what? I'm like, oh, it is you. And that was the first celebrity I felt like we met in person there.
Yep.
We take photos with him, shake his hand, Polaroids with him. He thought that was super cool. And then I got asked him about his Countach build, which he had a replica Countach he was building a couple years ago, which I got the answer for. He said, we chucked that piece of crap. I'm like, And I said, I'm really bummed you did that because I got mine. Rise, you got yours. I was hoping to do a bunch of video collab. But it was nice that he took the time to stop and see us.
And he instantly turned around and posted it too.
Yeah, and that was cool too.
That was great. It was not 30 seconds when, after your chat with him and it was posted. And I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Because I had posted to my Instagram story, hey, I just got to see Tavares. It's nice meeting him. He's like, oh, yeah, quick repost.
Yep.
It was also cool. The other cool thing was a lot of celebrities that I talked to and would post on it, they would talk to me a little bit on Instagram. But now there's like an open bridge to actually communicate, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's that part of making those connections.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We've talked for an hour now about our experience and that kind of stuff.
Oh, we've talked for an hour about Grant's
Yeah.
experience.
I want to hear your guys's.
That's valid. That's valid. The question I get more from, or have in the last week from people that knew that I went, was like, yeah, how was it? What was the coolest thing you saw?
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
man. I know. It's kind of funny. The one thing that jumps out at me is one of the last things that I saw, but it's not the coolest by any means, because as I think back, I'm like, wow, what would actually be the coolest? And that would be so hard to nail down.
That'd be really hard.
I could throw out 4 or 5 that are at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one that jumped out was the Hummer, right? The 6x6 Hummer.
Mm-hmm. The El General.
The green one, because there
green
was
one.
also a red
There was
one
a red
outside.
one as well.
There was?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That one was really cool. I liked the fact that it had a mid-mounted Hellcat motor. That was, I thought that made it a little different, made it stand out a little bit.
For our listeners, real fast, it was a H1 Hummer stretch 6x6 formula-inspired car.
Check our Instagram. We posted it.
Yeah.
It's up, yep.
And then one of the other, actually 2 of the other ones, they fit in the same category. It was the A-Mod cars. One was a Camaro. One was a 73 Trans Am.
Mm-hmm.
The Camaro was like a 69, that vintage.
Derek could correct you on that.
I know it. But you know what? You probably couldn't tell if it was a 67 or a 68 or a 69 because it was so highly modified.
Yeah.
So those 2 cars I thought were awesome. They were right down my, alley as far as super big aero. They've had all the suspension upgrades, and like these things are built for hill climb and time attack. Mm-hmm. Just awesome cars. The 73 Trans Am, I'm looking under the hood of this car, and it's all, we've posted this on Instagram too, so go look that up on Untitled Car Project. But it's all cantilevered suspension, and all this stuff, and you're like, where's the motor? So I was like, all right, they did something fun. They put it in the back of the car. So I go back to the back of the car. Fuel tank, fuel cell in the trunk. Okay. Look kind of in the back window. It's cantilevered suspension. It's got some intake. I'm like, where in the hell? Go back to the front. And I'm kind of looking through all this suspension stuff. They pushed it into the cab of the car. Mm-hmm. The front of the motor is even to where the firewall should be.
Yeah.
They pushed it so far back. So that motor is literally middle of the car.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely insane.
And there was still room for the driver.
Yeah.
Barely.
Was
so
it? Okay.
yeah, I looked in the footwell, and he had to push his feet at an angle out to the outside of the car to fit,
Damn.
I'm sure it's hot as hell too with all the
yeah.
headers and stuff. But anyway, that car had 3,000 horsepower or something. I may have misstated that. It was 1,800 horsepower with like 1,200 foot-pounds of torque.
Good
I think
Lord.
is what it is. Anyway, so
get up and
the
go,
intake is off the top of the car. It pushes it down over the back through turbos, then through dual 3-inch air ducts, intakes, right, into the motor. I mean, the engineering on that car was just amazing.
Yeah.
I think that one probably was the top of my list, favorite car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? You
I
get that question?
I've been getting that a lot, and that's been tough trying to go through because there was a lot of cool builds. And it was also tough, and this is, I don't know about you guys, but the one thing that kept hitting me was there were so many insane builds, a lot of it blurred together.
I
it was
agree.
hard to stick out what was the coolest build. Like if you took any of those cars and put them at a local car show,
Oh my God.
best thing.
Yeah,
But when you put them all together, it's
hard
really hard to pick out. The
Yeah.
one that's, I remember, and stood up the most, probably the most controversial one, because that was the one we saw on day 0, was the Lamborghini-powered twin-turbo Miata.
I am so tired of seeing that car
I know.
because it wasn't a Lamborghini.
It wasn't a Lamborghini engine.
It was
And
like an LS1 with Lamborghini headset on the top with turbos that weren't even hooked up.
on Wednesday when that guy was called out,
Such
he
a
took
bullshit.
that car and left with it.
Yeah.
And
It didn't even run.
yeah. And that's that. But that if it did run, or if he spent the extra money and went and got, because he's like, I think someone said he spent $300,000 on this build, and it's like, well, no, you didn't, because the guy was
No.
a liar.
No.
Exactly. Well, because if it's a Lambo engine, blah blah. But
No.
the fact is, if you would have bought just even a 5.2 Audi V10 and
Yeah.
put the Lamborghini intake on top, because it did have some
That would-
Lambo parts,
That would be forgivable.
that'd be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
that would be
understand,
legit. Okay.
Yeah. But
But the fact was, he cobbled some shit together and,
And
tried
it wasn't
to make
finished.
I don't think it ever could be finished.
yeah.
No.
I will say though, I bet you someone next year is actually going to try to build something like that, because if they did build that, that was a cool vehicle.
Coolest Miata though was the one with the ski tracks with the.
I didn't see that one.
Oh,
Maybe.
it was out by the drift course. I think you
Okay.
did see it. I've got pictures of it.
Okay.
But it had skis on the front and like cat tracks on the back. It was pretty awesome.
That's
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think of some of the coolest builds. The Hummer was definitely one that stuck out to me.
It did.
The L General.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the other ones that really stuck out to me was the first day was really impressionable. It was cool going to the Toyota booth and seeing all the concept SUVs
Yeah.
that went through.
Yeah.
And even though they weren't like builds that someone did, it was a company car, so we'd see like,
I know. I was a little disappointed in myself for enjoying that so much because
Yeah.
that was one of the first things we saw was Toyota's booth, and I'm like, this is a manufacturer's booth, but damn, they did a really good job.
we got to see the concept of what the Forerunner as a surf one with the
Yeah.
removable hardtop.
Yeah, removable top.
We
That
got
thing was kind of cool.
we got to see a GR86 all-wheel drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
We got to see some classic retro styling concept paint schemes and stuff they had. I thought that was pretty cool.
No, I think they did a great job. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of things. The AZ1 we saw, that guy that made custom.
Yes, that was cool.
That was cool talking to him and seeing all the stuff he did to it. He was telling me he's eventually going to replace the motor and go something a little bit bigger.
Right.
He hasn't decided on what he's going to do with that one. The McLaren SLR, that was cool seeing that. The guy
Yes.
is
That was cool.
a supercar from Mercedes, already a $1 million car that someone had already modified, chopped, and did their own thing. I know probably some peers not the greatest thing, but someone at least had the balls to take that step and go that way.
Yeah, that car was awesome.
I think other than that, the one thing that really stood out to me was, and we have pictures of it, is the big trucks, like the almost
That
monster truck
trucks.
size.
The one that you were standing in front of was a monster truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff's pretty cool. What about the 3,000 horsepower Chevelle?
That was good.
I
mean,
thought it was all carbon fiber. I mean, that was a pretty extreme build. I thought that was pretty cool.
And that,
Got a lot of attention.
yeah.
And it should have gotten a lot.
So in terms of that, I mean, the thing was with horsepower at SEMA, that's where it's like 3,000 horsepower. Lot.
Numbers are big.
They're big, and it's like you see one, then you see the next, then you
I
see
know.
the next.
Everybody's shooting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the most impressive builds that stuck out to me, we posted about today, was the
Carbon fiber.
carbon fiber 280Z.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just body panels; the interior was carbon fiber, like the entire thing.
Yeah.
There was no metal on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So how closely did you look at that car?
Good amount.
Not very close?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at that car really closely,
Mm-hmm.
the guy that laid out the carbon fiber
Mm-hmm.
actually lined up.
Oh,
Everything.
the panels. I did see that. Yeah, each panel lines up with each other. That's freaking impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's attention to detail.
Yeah. That car was probably in terms of detail the most stunning car there. I'm not a huge carbon fiber guy, but like I was impressed by the craftsman on that. And not only that, he didn't take a turbo car and just say, let's throw, a 280 or a 2JZ in it. Let's not throw a Hellcat in it. He put an Indy car motor in that thing with velocity stacks.
Yeah.
Come on, that's awesome.
Yeah, super awesome. You do see a lot of carbon fiber at the show because carbon fiber is hard to work with. I mean, it takes extreme talent to get that stuff to lay right, and
You gotta get molds made for it.
or they're making their own.
Yeah.
Is the thing. What was it? Was it a Charger that all carbon fiber one that they did the clear coat red clear coat over it so you could see through it. I don't know.
The Challenger?
Challenger, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of that. You know what? We touched on it on the last episode, but the Blazer, the Chevy Blazer,
Oh, that was cool.
the new
The
body style.
new retro body style one.
Yeah, that thing was awesome. Some of the old K5 Blazers that were done, Tuco, or Tuca. That's what it was.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah,
Took a lot of money.
Tuca, a lot of money. So we're gonna name it Tuca. But there was some really cool Blazers. I really like those.
Yeah.
Broncos, like highly modified stuff. I mean, just everything you could possibly want.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeremy? What stood out?
Oh man.
Everything.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I was kind of digging the some of the older trucks.
Yeah.
So there was a slammed, I think C20 four-door, the red.
Oh yeah, we got a good video of that. It's on our Instagram.
That thing was really nice.
Yep.
And then there was one, I was showing Chad the video of the C10, blue and white lifted. I'm like 68, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I took a video of it. I'm like, yeah, Chad's probably going to crucify me for this. But,
Oh yeah,
you know,
I
whatever.
think I saw that. Yeah.
And then Grant and I are standing there, and Chad goes, yeah, it's a really nice 67 or whatever. I'm like, see, I knew
yeah, got it wrong.
So there was that one, and then there was a couple of old Fords that I really dug.
Yeah.
A couple two-wheel drives. Actually, one of them was over in the Optima area,
Oh yeah.
and I think they were racing it.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about, and for some reason it did not get off the line.
Oh,
Yeah, because I wanted to see that one run, and
Yep.
then when the group came up, that one stayed in staging. It never left the
Bummer.
line. Yeah,
bummer,
There
because
was something.
that's like, I love those things.
Yeah,
You don't see them as often as the C10s and stuff like
yeah.
that.
It was
so.
I think it was an old F100, right?
Yep.
Yeah, super good looking truck.
Yeah, and then there was another lifted C10, kind of way back in the corner, that I really liked. I got pictures of it. I'll post
Those up.
Yeah. Some of the newer stuff, I mean, it was like one after the next of holy shit.
Yeah.
And then
I think
got
you're right too. That's kind of the overwhelming part of it,
Yeah.
not it? It's like holy shit, and then around the corner, holy shit, and then oh my god.
you know, when you're walking through that show and you go, oh look, another McLaren.
Yeah.
You know, there was so many McLarens there that I got bored of them.
It wasn't just that. It was the wheel and tires specifically. It was new McLaren, new Lamborghini, new Ferrari. Not a couple years old, brand new. And then you go next with same thing.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the people that worked on them, they did their touches and they were cool, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I like to see those cars, but they don't do it for me.
No.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's not a project car.
exactly.
well,
Honestly.
There's a lot to that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're cool cars, and probably every project car guy does too. You know,
Yeah.
who doesn't like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini once in a while?
Yeah.
They've
I
got
wouldn't want to jump in a McLaren 720S and roll.
take a rip, right? But I
what's his
think
name?
also,
Oh, yeah.
Arturo wouldn't. There we go.
yeah, whatever. He's not alone.
Yeah.
There's people that don't like him too. But I feel like anymore, that whole realm of supercar has gotten kind of gaudy and overblown.
I was to say, as for us, I'm going to claim I'm probably the supercar guy of all our group, right?
More so, yeah.
And that was the one thing in the show was seeing those. That was least interested in.
Yeah.
There was one Ferrari there that caught my mind that I was like, this is really cool, and it was the the 550 GTC competition Ferrari that was there, and that was just a race version Ferrari from
Right.
2001, and that was cool seeing that.
It was cool, yeah.
But seeing all the other supercars, I think the biggest thing was because what people were doing to them was very flashy,
Yep.
but they weren't doing it for performance. Now, many of these people are going to buy these cars and not drive them. They're going to drive them recklessly, or they're not going to use them for what they do. They're going to be like showing,
Yeah, show and tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're right. A lot of those cars were there for the flash, right? They were selling their wheels, their body kits, their PPF, their
neon lights.
their neon lights, and that's part of the aftermarket scene. You can't deny it. That's SEMA.
Yeah.
It's part of aftermarket, and they're there to sell a product too. So they were doing their thing. Could they have done that same thing with a 72 Camaro? Yes, absolutely. If they get somebody that built a custom Chevelle or a Nova or a Corvette, put the wheels on it, put their wrap on it, they could sell it just as well, but they're thinking that $500,000 car is going to be blingier or something.
Yeah.
But maybe also,
Or they had it.
potentially. Yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, like, maybe that's who they're targeting, is the person with the 720S or the 765 or
Well,
I don't know.
Definitely those booths that had those supercars there, like those tires. If you guys noticed, a lot of them had the shipping containers, and the inside would be their actual, what's for sale, whatever. And then on top would be lounging area, and there'd always be people up there with the
Those
private
booths
rooms.
were crowded,
Yeah.
and that's, I guess, the people that don't get to see those cars a lot.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get away from them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
honestly.
So if you own one of these supercars and you want to come on and talk about the project you're doing with it,
Oh.
please.
Okay, Rob, do you want to come on, or do you want me to come on and talk?
You don't have one.
Yeah. The project, it sits in my garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's part of the culture, good or bad. It's not really our cup of tea necessarily, but that's fine.
I would like to one of these days have a company that's a supercar focused company with their projects to come on and talk about that.
Try on. Yes.
But I'm more of a modification company would be interesting to see.
Or somebody who, has taken an early 80s one and done something fun.
See, I find that more interesting
Same.
than the new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That-
show me something that you're working on.
That was one thing that I think was the biggest thing with the supercars is because at some point there's always booths that have the newest and latest supercar.
Yeah.
Why aren't you showing some of the older models you've done? Because not everyone's going to buy the newest thing. They're going to buy maybe, say if it's a Lamborghini, maybe, a 2012, 2015, 2008, whatever. And bring that and show what they could do, because that's where those cars are more obtainable, I feel like, by the average
Agreed.
person.
Or somebody's already got it in their garage and
Yeah.
maybe they want to do a project.
Because they've had it for 8 years.
Well, they
and they're
wanna
like,
update.
want to spice up.
Yeah, they want to update it. They want it to make, because the people that are buying a 2024 Huracan or whatever.
You're buying it because you already love the car, but if you buy it and this
not-
ain't good enough for me, I got to go do some other stuff to it.
That's a pretty thin market.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of people doing that.
yeah.
So,
Two things, Jeremy. First off, what was when you got off the monorail? What was your first car, truck, whatever that caught your eye?
Wait, on day one,
Day one.
I didn't get off the monorail.
he walked.
Okay, you walked. So what was the first thing when you walked in?
So I came past the West Hall first.
Yeah.
Okay, and on the west side of the West Hall, there was an outdoor area
Yeah.
with a lot of really big trucks.
Yep.
My first thought walking through there was, holy shit,
My first thought walking through there was, dude, bro.
And then I think the first car that I actually was able to walk up to and look at was a Cobra.
Yeah.
It happened to be in the North Hall. It was like the first thing you see walking through the doors. It was cool, but like,
Not your cup of tea.
no, I like the Cobras, but like, I've seen them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it looked just like some of the other ones, and so I wandered through that hall and I came across that 280Z,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, holy shit, you guys got to see this.
Yeah.
That one was impressive to me.
Sure.
But I mean, first impression, just walking past the West Hall
Yeah.
was like, this is just one building.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Epic. So I think the first one that
There we go.
that I saw coming down the escalator was the RWB Porsches. Right there.
Those were cool.
Yeah.
Those were cool.
Yeah, they were cool.
There was like 4 of them in that booth.
There was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty modified 911s. I'm not super Porsche,
I feel
illiterate.
I feel spoiled.
Yeah, whatever.
They're
You
all,
are.
they're all nice.
Well,
You are.
well, so I know you guys haven't been around them, but the fact is the RWBs and seeing the guy make them was great.
Right.
The reason I say it's still spoiled is because the Northwest, we actually have an owner here that has 2 of them, which I was told anyone who buys an RWB, you're not allowed to own more than one. So somebody has 2.
Well, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You can own more than one, but RWB will not sell you more than
There you go. Okay. But anyways, because I've seen these cars multiple times, stuff like that from different car shows. But no, it was cool seeing that. We got videos and pictures of them.
Yeah. How about you? First car that you saw?
Me?
Yep.
I think we already talked about it. The first one was the Miata was the first thing to catch my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I think the first
see.
impression, though, like getting off the monorail when we actually saw all of SEMA was, I wasn't more focused on a word that would be. It would be the fact that my eyes were bigger than my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, the Hoonigan booth right there was kind of cool.
Yep.
That one, when I did come off the monorail for the first time, that's one of the first things you see.
It is. You see all the outdoor, the drift pad, the Optimus section. You can see that. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
And then the Hoonapig sitting right out front.
Yep.
So I did meander over and take a really good look at that thing. That's a cool car.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you guys, which applies to our listeners. Do you think the prices for anything that happened at SEMA in terms of food, materials, whatever, was justified, or do you think they just way overcharged it? And
I think that's a Vegas thing.
Yeah. I mean, food-wise, absolutely absurd.
how would you prepare our listeners for that?
Take $1,000 cash.
Triple.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, I kept track of what I spent, and it was $1,000.
Really? Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap.
And that does not count, any lodging or travel.
Yeah. I kind of just
Yeah.
paid the credit card bill at the end of the month.
Well, that's because my credit card was 0 when I went.
Oh.
So, anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
Beers
Shit.
and hot dogs.
Yeah, beers and hot dogs. Yeah, food triple normal prices.
Yeah.
It's Vegas is expensive anyway, but double Vegas's normal pricing, and that's what you've got.
That's what I noticed too.
Yeah.
It seemed like that. To give our listeners an idea, me and Ian stopped by a bar in a casino, just walking by.
Yeah.
And for a single mixed drink and a beer was almost, I think, $40.
$40, yeah.
We were talking at SEMA when we were there, water bottles on the cheap end were $9 a piece.
Yeah.
Starbucks
was $10 to $12 per drink.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, if you come to SEMA, expect to spend money. Because if you bring food, great, but I don't think it's worth the time to go back to your hotel to eat it or carry around. Because that's the thing is, I was carried around the backpack, and I'm telling you guys, from carrying a backpack and loading it full of all the gifts and swag and stuff we were getting, I can't imagine having also like a lunch meal on your back to carry too, because we walked 7 miles, 13 miles one day.
Oh, I walked
easily.
Minimum 10 miles a day.
Yeah. And that's
I probably walked 7 or 8 miles the first day.
Yeah. And that's with the stopping to talk and interview people and stuff like that. I can't imagine just if you were just walking around.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff you go through,
Yeah. I want to touch on one more thing. I'm sure we'll get sidetracked, but that's
definitely
aftermarket stuff.
Okay.
Because that really pertains to our listenership, right? Project cars and this and that. What struck you aftermarket wise?
One thing hit me on that topic.
Okay.
Did you guys notice any place that was selling aero or wings or anything?
No.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about and see.
I can tell you why.
Yeah.
While there were cars with aero
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff, it's not a racing-focused show.
Okay.
So PRI show, that one is focused on aftermarket racing equipment.
Okay.
That's definitely one I want to go to.
We need to go to that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm super intrigued by that because that's kind of my wheelhouse. That's where I want to live, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there were a lot of cars with aero, but I did not see a single booth dedicated to that.
Yeah.
A little bit surprising, like 9 Lives wasn't there or something. Mm-hmm. It's also very possible that we just didn't see it.
And that is very possible.
Yeah, so it could have been there.
Yeah.
Because the place is so freaking ginormous.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. I didn't see any. I didn't come across any, but it could have been there.
Somebody made a comment earlier that I think it was you, Rob, that you guys you thought you had seen 75% of that show.
Of
Yeah.
the SEMA side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just of the SEMA side?
And I won't, and I'll qualify that even further. Like, I may have walked through it and did not
Yes.
see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So I feel like I probably saw 25%.
Yeah,
I walked through a lot of it, but
my interest level waned on some of the stuff. So, like I said before, the tires and wheels,
Ran
hey,
through.
they're round. And so I really didn't pay attention. I may have walked through the hall, but I didn't really look around. Same with car stereo stuff. I walked through the hall, but I did not look around.
I think I can clarify this even more. The first day, all of us together, we were in the central hall. That's where we spent most of the day.
All day long.
And at the end of the day, I know for a fact, as much as we walked through that building, we all agreed that we only saw 75% of that building, the first day.
Agreed.
You know, I can't remember. There was because we would go by the sections.
Yeah.
There was numbers on the wall,
Yeah.
and I know there was like another couple hundred we didn't see.
Yep.
And when we talked to Chad, he spent the entire day in that one building, and he claimed he only got 10% through. Just to give our listeners an idea of the scale of it.
Yeah, we're not doing a very good job probably, but
Yeah.
you know, I went back to Central on Thursday because I felt like I left something on the table.
that's
Yeah.
where you and I went through, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even after you left, I went back through it again.
Yep.
There was stuff that I saw on Thursday that I didn't see the first time through it. And they changed some of the displays.
Yep.
There was different cars in there, and I was
Yeah,
like, damn it.
That's true. That's the other thing was on
Yeah.
every day it seemed like there was new cars coming and going.
It was, yeah.
And that was crazy.
Yep. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, as far as aftermarket parts, what do you think?
There was a few. The gas tank was one that really intrigued me.
Yeah.
For the F-250s.
I would have to agree with
Yeah, because it won one of the best products in SEMA. We talked to the guys about their tank. I'm trying to remember what their company name was.
I think I got a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. But it was interesting because you changed from a 35, 27-gallon tank to 75 gallons, 65.
60,
That
and
was
65.
60.
And they said it was from 2015 and up. It fit all of them. However, the 2023s and 2024s with digital gauges would not read the miles per gallon or how many miles to empty
Miles
with
to
it.
empty.
They hadn't
Yeah.
jailbroke it yet.
Yeah, they said with the F to E, it would measure that, but it wouldn't do the other way.
Well, it would measure full for a really long time because
Yeah.
it's not this. You know, the sensors aren't calibrated for 60 gallons.
Exactly.
But yeah, anything prior to 23,
Yeah.
so 15 to 22 or whatever,
Yeah.
you could get that reprogrammed.
So, but why that caught my eye most was, in terms of aftermarket support, was it wasn't flashy. It wasn't like in your face. This was like, this is something I could actually see myself using.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what any of the products there that's what caught my eye the most is like, what could I see myself using? What could I see our listeners be using?
Yep.
Did anybody see the price on it?
Yes. Is
$12.99. I want to say
yeah. It
was like
it's $1,200.
Yeah,
You know, and they
I thought it was reasonable.
it's
Yeah,
not awful.
and one of the things we talked about them was like, why build a bigger tank? What's the benefit? You're adding more weight. And the guy was saying, it's like, well, if you got a bigger tank, if you're going out to a place, you don't want to then have to struggle and figure out if you're towing something that's 60 foot long and see if you can make it in the driveway or wherever, and to a gas station and not sure if you'll make it. If you have a bigger tank, you can get to your location, come back, and now you're home and can fill up where you're comfortable and know your area.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is, if I was driving down to Yuma from here, say, I could jump in that, fill up just north of California, and make it all the way there, no problem.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And as far as the extra weight, he said what your normal tank's 24 or 26 gallons, I should say. The extra 30 gallons, right, that you're carrying is equal to a 240-pound passenger.
Yep, that's what we
It's
said.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's literally.
And that caught me off guard. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was going to be way more weight than that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 pounds per gallon or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Yeah, that was a good aftermarket find that was like very useful. I was struck by all the digital gauges, the aftermarket
Yes.
gauges. There was, I don't know, I saw 6 different companies offering gauge packages, anything from your full digital, just a square panel that you put in your aftermarket, whatever you're building, to gauges that were very specific to fit your vehicle year and model.
Yeah, some
Like-
of the retro type stuff.
Yeah, retro stuff, but it was all digital, right? Or LED, new package. I thought that was super cool, especially for me because I've got vehicles that I'm going to need that kind of thing for. There was a lot of companies coming out with that stuff, and it's pretty much plug and play, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was cool to see were the EFI packages for carbureted vehicles.
Lots of them.
That was cool.
There was lots of them. Obviously, the big notables, the Hollies and the whoever's, the Edelbrocks, they've all got their stuff. But there's other smaller companies that are. EFI Tech was one of them that we looked at really closely. Pretty neat stuff. I'm going to be doing that for the 73 or the 74 Corvette. That'll be cool,
Yeah.
those are the kind of things that I really saw. There was some good stuff in the suspension packages.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was
yeah.
that was cool seeing that one booth with independent rear Mustang suspension and
Yeah.
Camaro and
A bolt-on IRS system for a Fox body.
yeah. How was it? David was telling me he went to that booth and they said they had a whole bolt-in frame for Fox bodies.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't even know how it's possible. They only have 7 things, but he's like, apparently it makes it way stiffer and all blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's a more rigid frame chassis setup. Yeah, a lot of stuff like that. Interior packages, really good stuff. Distinctive had a cool booth. It showed all their new seats and that kind of stuff. Those were awesome. Shoot. What else? I was just thinking of something. Oh, you're making noise there, bud.
Hang on.
There
There we go.
All right.
Got it.
His magnetic personality
Hooray!
feeding back.
Yay!
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed seeing all the new aftermarket stuff coming out. Are you frozen?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm not moving.
How about you? What besides no Aero products?
It was nice talking to Hawk and seeing about their thing. In terms of aftermarket, there wasn't a heck of a lot that caught my eye. I think it was mainly because coming there as a Mustang guy, specifically like a Liger S197, those were products I was looking for, and there wasn't a whole lot for that. Because in terms of aftermarket, looking at things for like the Ghost car, for example.
Yeah.
But again, we didn't see a lot of stuff built for racing.
Right. Yeah, it was mostly resto mod geared, but
Yeah.
it was also very high performance. I
Yeah.
mean, those are high performance booths. Everything they had
Yeah.
was, and you can use all that stuff for racing.
Yeah.
I tried to step away from my own circle of vehicles that I have and need to work on, though that was a good way to gauge whether a project car guy could use this stuff,
Yeah.
right? But to be able to open your mind a little bit and look at these different booths,
Yeah.
whether it's suspension or braking or chassis parts or doors. I mean, there was even they were selling full paneled cars, you can buy a whole body to a Nova. So just kind of looking around at that and seeing what's coming out and what these companies are offering for the project car guy. I mean, it's endless.
Well, yeah. I was just saying, in terms of for the project car guy, like aftermarket, there was a good amount, but what was catching my eyes was more of the support for that, like the tools,
Okay.
and not even from the tools section. Like,
Yeah.
you and Ian went with me to Mad Dog Tools, and I stayed there for their sales pitch.
Oh, you did.
You
That's
know.
right. And we wandered off. I'm like, nope, I don't have it in me.
Yeah, which I kept seeing them from Instagram and from YouTube, from all their videos about their products.
I'm going to tell on you.
What?
You spent $550 at their booth.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to try their product.
Yeah.
You know, if it works as well as it does, then I'll be buying more, and our company will be buying more.
Yeah.
And it was cool because he was giving me a sales pitch, but there was always people coming up and saying, "I love your product, buy us." The one I bought was, for example, I was excited before. They had a cutoff wheel grinder combo disc, really expensive, $90 on sale, normally $150. Their claim was, and I verified with this guy, said, he's like, "Oh, this will last forever, 4 years." I said, "Clarify 4 years." He goes, "Well, if you were to take this and go and grind at a stainless steel shop for 40 hours a week, every week, it would be dull and done by 4 years." And
Yeah.
I was like, that's a bold claim until like
It is a bold claim.
15 minutes after, we had a random guy come up and he goes, "I just want to say I love your product. I've been using a grinder wheel for like 2 years." He's like, "It's still not dull." And I was like, wow. On top of that, while I was there was, a group of Canadian guys talking, and we were talking about their products and about the drill bits I haven't used. And
What's that, eh?
exactly. And they were actually selling me on the drill bits. And I was like, I need to get some of those because their drill bits, talking to the salesman about it, was they had some that were multi-use, but I'm not into, cement and all that. This one was like for steel and traditional style drill bits, but the end of them, of every bit, had a stepper to it.
Right.
So you don't have to drill a pilot hole. It's just good to go and go for it.
Yeah.
As well as their bits are rated for high speed.
I'd like to know. I'll be interested to hear how long those bits last.
Yeah. Because I'm
I
hoping
like the concept.
I'm hoping they last a while. And the biggest thing with any of the products I bought was lifetime warranty on it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
If I bust that grinding wheel after 2 years, they
Yep.
said send it in and they'll send me a new one.
Yeah, I like that.
You know how many drill bits I've snapped in half?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's user error.
Yeah.
no, it is, but like
Yeah.
you get a small bit and you put any weight on it.
Right.
Yeah. I was also going to say the last thing I bought from them was a nibbler, which is not a new concept, but theirs was where you can guide it by hand and really fine tune it. And I'm not really sure how I'd use it, but I was like, I got some ideas eventually. Like I can form sheet metal and big circles, and there was just a bunch of stuff from that booth I got. Yeah. But that's what I was saying is my thing, like going to Gear Wrench and talking to them about torque wrenches, seeing their new product, electric torque wrenches with 120 tooth count. Where their heads
that's
aren't
awesome.
spring powered. Their electric torque wrenches work by figuring out the deflection in the head, and that gives you your torque for a more accurate thing.
Right. Well, it doesn't wear either.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that for me, that's why I wasn't looking like, oh, what can I put in the car? I was like, what could this do for the car guy? That was how my kind of view was looking at.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
The one thing that caught my eye
Yeah.
were the full chassis that you can buy.
Oh, right. Yes, I did
So-
see that.
I thought that was pretty cool because you could buy them from, just a chassis to a full suspension rolling chassis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really good for the. I mean, those things are super expensive because I looked at them. But say you've got a car that's been wrecked and the chassis is tweaked, but
Yep.
most of it is salvageable and you want to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good way to go.
Yeah,
Buy a
solid
new-
way to go.
It really is. It's the chassis is going to be better than the original because it's going to be more rigid, and you can rebuild from that. It'll actually be square.
Never bent and safe.
Yeah. I did like that as well. And there was several that I saw selling
Yeah.
chassis for all kinds of.
And they had them where they
applications.
built them for, either stock vehicles
Yeah.
or lowered vehicles
Yep.
or, kind of whatever you were looking to do.
Yeah, yeah, making a Pro Street,
Yeah.
being able to put different suspension on it, where
Tubbed rear end.
tubbed. Yeah, you could get a narrowed chassis so you could put bigger tires on it and stuff. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Anything else catch you as far as aftermarket stuff?
I mean, a lot of the same things because we walked through that central hall at the same time.
Right.
So a lot of the gauges, actually the ones that you were pointing out, I thought were really neat.
Yeah,
Especially that giant square digital screen that you could change
Yeah.
every gauge on.
I thought that was really freaking cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, I might be looking.
I don't know if I saw that
Something
one.
like that for my truck would be, I think, pretty sweet.
Wiring harnesses.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I saw that too.
Those are, I mean, how hard is it to build a wiring harness, right?
Yeah.
It depends on the complexity of your vehicle, but
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, for sure.
So that was one that I saw that I was like, man, that's a good idea.
I even saw trim pieces to some of the older vehicles that had a lot of chrome trim and this and that, like some of the Novas.
It's hard to find stuff.
Yeah, and turn signals, like brand new remanufactured lenses.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, damn, that's cool. That stuff's hard to find. But
I just realized that all the business cards from SEMA right here.
oh, good job.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think that stuff is really cool. There's a lot of stuff coming out. We did get to see a lot of stuff. We're probably not super informative as to where to find that stuff, but just know that it's out there.
It'll be on the social media later with links and posts.
If you're putting it there.
Okay, maybe.
Only if you're doing it.
Only if you're doing it.
I was going to ask...
Social media manager.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Rob, I was going to ask you, because you spent a lot of time at the Optima, was there anything you, talking to the racers, seeing the cars, that got your interest for the upcoming races to be like, why I should be doing this, or this is interesting how they drove?
Kind of. Boy, that's a tough one, really. Those guys are the next level, right? Because that particular Optima event is an invite only.
Yep.
You had to compete in, I don't know how many, or score. You had to win an event to get an invite, or score, a certain amount of points throughout several different events.
So we're going to be there next year, right?
Not likely. I can't afford to go to enough Optima events
Yeah.
to probably make it. But most of those guys, like we talked to one fella, Rick Ray. Remember talking to Rick? He's still shifting his car. Him and his buddy, what was it? Was it Sean? Anyway,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
So they're still shifting their vehicles while most people have gone to like DCTs, paddle shifting. Or,
Yeah, that was interesting hearing
or,
that.
what do you call it?
Not dog leg.
Sequential?
Yes, sequential.
Yeah, a lot
That
of people
was-
have gone to sequential for that exact purpose. The racing, it's so much faster, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did post up a bunch of the start-stop event, those guys ripping down the track and back. And it doesn't look like much. It's probably better in person, but like they're quick, man.
Oh, yeah.
Those cars are fast. So that was pretty
There
cool.
was a couple cars that were big, too.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Like Impala size big.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were doing quite
Flat
well.
getting it.
Yeah, flat getting it. As far as something I can apply to next season, I probably need to do a better job on my front splitter. I'm not putting in a sequential because that's money I don't have.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going that,
talked
you
to a
might as well
few-
go automatic.
Yeah, but automatic's not, it's not as fast.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. What else? Suspension. Talking to guys about suspension and that kind of stuff, and they're working through some issues with some new things that are out there. I'm not going to name the sponsors or anything like that that we talked about, but just car setup and this and that kind of thing. I didn't really gain anything for myself per se.
Yeah.
I feel like my car's set up pretty well, kind of the way I want it, but
Yeah.
it was good. I really like talking to those guys, though. Everybody's really passionate about their cars and their setups, and Optima is kind of a cool situation because it has to be a street drivable car as well. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
A couple of those guys, I think I can get on the show, so look for that in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Drifting was another thing. It sounded like they were just absolutely destroying tires out there. And I asked Ian about it, and he said, yeah, that surface out there is super rough, like aggressive. Like you could hear the tires coming apart. It was gnarly.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just like,
Hope you got sponsors.
man. that is just something else because it just sounded like they were shredding. The surface was rough. It wasn't a super smooth patch of cement that they were, or not cement, asphalt. Yeah, that they were working on. So that was interesting. A bunch of different types of drifting, cars that were drifting, some trucks, stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, it was fun. I was hoping that they would have the autocross there at the convention center. Apparently they have in the past, but with all the F1 construction and stuff, they lost a bunch of area. So they had to move the autocross out to the speedway, and I did not go out there to see that.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
So at one point I went and talked to that dude in blue.
Yeah.
YouTuber for our listeners knowing. And this was a generalized talk, just about random stuff. I was there for like half an hour talking to him. One thing he told me that was very interesting was that a SEMA booth, if you decide to stop coming to SEMA, actually no, Solomon was telling us about this.
Yeah,
Solomon
I was like,
talking
wait,
about
I
this.
was there for that conversation.
Yeah. That if you stop with your booth coming to SEMA, you don't come back.
Yeah, they don't invite you back.
And that,
well, you get a 1-year pass.
Yeah.
They'll let you miss 1 year.
Yeah.
But you better come back the next year, otherwise they stop. They won't.
They stopped doing that,
Yeah.
and I can't remember which booth wasn't there this year. That
I don't know.
was it. Ford? No, Ford was there.
Yeah, Ford was there.
Yeah. But it was just interesting hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to show commitment to it. I guess, you're either in or you're not. So
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to have rules. I guess they can't have people just willy nilly coming in and out. You're either going to commit to it or you're not.
I can understand that, but like I feel like it shouldn't be a permanent ban because that's what it was sounding like.
Yeah.
It's because there was like guys that be like, oh yeah, we tried for years for 5 years after that, and they won't let us back in.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very interesting hearing that. And
we should get a hold of somebody within the SEMA group. And ask them about that. I don't want to spread some kind of weird rumor that isn't really true.
True.
No. So I would like to get to the bottom of that before we,
start talking.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So just so the listener knows that. Well, not really. Just so the listener knows that's an unconfirmed rumor.
Yeah.
So
unconfirmed rumor, but we could say like it is being talked about.
Sure.
Yep. By word of mouth. I did want to say it was nice seeing my buddy Solomon though.
Mm-hmm. He had a pretty cool build there. What was that, a 77?
76.
Okay.
76 Snickers F250.
Yeah.
Brown, and he was excited for that build up. We'll go on that talk when he's on the show next. As well as he had the carbon fiber F150 build, the one that you were sending me a video of.
He built that truck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That truck was freaking badass.
Yeah, everyone was talking about that at the show.
Yeah. So we have not posted that one yet. Maybe by the time this show airs, it will be up on Instagram and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that thing was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
What a beautiful truck.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was nice. I haven't seen him since Wyotech, and literally seeing him, it was like no time had passed. It was awesome.
Yeah.
He's like, Grant, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was very busy, but he was excited to be there, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else like jump out into your brain about our SEMA experience? I was really bummed that Ian wasn't going to be able to be here tonight, and Chad was busy too. So maybe we'll be able to get their take on stuff in one of the later episodes. But
yeah.
I
know anything else that stuck out to us.
Fantastic experience.
I just know it's
overall experience was amazing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be memories I'm not gonna forget about.
For sure.
I'm looking forward to next year, and
already.
I think I don't know about you guys. One thing I've been struggling with post SEMA has been not only on. I feel like on the show a little bit I've been struggling with it, but like people in general telling them about the show, telling them about like it's.
You can't even describe.
No,
it's really hard to put into words.
I don't want to. I don't want to say, "Oh, you should have been there."
No,
But it's we're trying our best.
Yeah. And
I know I've had friends who've gone there in the past, but the way they described was nothing like we experienced. That was amazing.
Yep. I would agree.
Yeah.
It's really hard to put into words to describe how big and awesome it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So there's 5,500 booths, and there were 2,500 vendors.
Vendors, right?
yeah,
So I mean,
160,000 people.
yeah,
yeah,
That's a lot of people.
that's
Yeah.
a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming.
yeah.
for
It
sure.
really is overwhelming.
I will attack it differently next year, but
Yeah, 100%.
I do want to say I'm really thankful for our listeners, as well as the hard work that you guys do. We wouldn't have been able to get there without everyone's input.
we
and
all
help,
pitched in. Yeah. Yep.
because that was we talked about that. Probably 2 months of starting this podcast. Like, wouldn't that be cool to get there? And we set a goal and got there.
Yeah.
That was a mountain to climb. Which me, congrats.
Right.
Yeah,
That's good.
Next year, I think it'll be a little different because it'll be more of a combined effort. Like, I really started going through and picking booths that I wanted to go to, and then I couldn't fucking log into the damn app on my phone, so
Yeah.
I didn't go to any of those, right?
Oh yeah.
And next year, I'm going to figure that out before I go,
Yeah.
right? And that's going to be one thing, but there's certain things that you guys don't want to go see.
yeah,
I'm pretty interested in tires. I kind of want to walk through the tire section and
Yeah.
By all means.
spend time.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for that day, what burnt us out was the moving of the rooms, getting up late, and then that, and
That was
then
rough.
Yeah.
going to the tires and wheel section. It was. I think if we would have started the beginning of the day, it would have been a whole different story.
Well, I think that's what is good too. We have a diversified desire of the things that we want to see. It's not all the same stuff,
Yep.
So I think that's pretty cool
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it'll definitely be a different adventure next year on many different fronts.
Yeah.
But I was happy to do it, and I'm glad we learned a lot from it, and
yeah.
looking forward to it again.
Do we now want to switch over to the next part that we did in Vegas on Friday?
Oh my God, what time is it? Yeah, we can do that.
So, who's
Go
going to
for
start it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So we decided, not really last minute, but
I think we just started day one.
we
Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
I mean, Grant had told me that he had been invited to go, and I was like, I kind of want to go do that, So what it is, Shelby American, and
Their shop is right there in Vegas.
their shop is on the south end of Las Vegas Boulevard. And basically, you walk in, you see a couple of the Shelby trucks and a couple of the cars outside before you even go in.
Their
Stuff that they
newest
currently
stuff
sell.
they're selling. Yeah.
The current stuff that they sell.
Right.
And then, you walk into the Shelby store, I guess, and you walk past all like their goods.
Swag.
Their swag. And you get to these big bay windows, and you can actually see into the manufacturing floor.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you get to the museum where Grant drooled all over every car.
I know they had to go clean everything.
They did.
Good Lord.
I took so many photos there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So what was your favorite car there?
Oh, GT40 by far.
Yeah.
So-
I knew yours was.
Yeah. Well, which
Yeah.
one?
The Gulf livery.
And these
Yeah,
were
that's
original.
really my favorite. Yes.
Yeah. These
Yeah.
were original GT40s.
Original.
Yeah.
Real deal. Yeah, GT40s. Pretty awesome.
Mine's more different. I think I've explained this to you guys. So while we were there, one of the cars I was very surprised to see was they had the 800 horsepower twin Paxton supercharged 247 powered Cobra that was owned by Bill Cosby. Nicknamed the Super Snake. And why that was the coolest one to me, in my opinion, was I hadn't seen that car in 15 years. I was there in 2007 or 8 when that was at Barrett Jackson, and that sold for at the time the highest valued car sold at Barrett Jackson for $5.5 million or
I
something.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that happening.
And it was interesting because it was the car that was on the stage, and I remember everyone talking about it. I have like books about that.
Right.
And it was, and I could see it at a distance at time, but I remember seeing it going, and being like a couple hundred feet back and seeing on stage, and I went, ooh, and and it was really kind of intimate going to this museum, and there was the thing that I remember. I'm clear as day remember in my memory for this, and I'm like, it's here,
Yeah.
and I get to be up front to it and
Yep.
get to see all the details.
3 feet away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was probably the coolest car there.
How do you know how they ended up with that? Like,
I don't know.
it sold to a private collection at the time.
Yeah.
And for $5.5 million, I can't imagine that they purchased it back. No, they could probably afford to, so maybe they did, or maybe it was donated back. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or it could be on loan.
Could be on loan, yeah.
Yeah. After it sold at that auction, I never really heard or see anything. Because the other thing was,
That happens a lot. That stuff just disappears.
disappears and never goes back. Because to my knowledge, there was only 2 of them ever built, and the first one was crashed. So the second one, that was it. That was the one that was there.
Yeah.
You know, and it was interesting because there wasn't even a plaque or anything on that.
No, there was.
Was there a
stuff.
plaque?
Yeah, there was a.
They had a lot of stuff on the walls.
Yeah.
and there was a picture in.
There was a
the
Bill
driver's seat.
Yeah,
of Bill
but
Cosby.
You'd have to. The Bill Cosby was there, but you'd have to really look over and see that. Like if you were just walking the hallway,
Yeah.
because it looks like a traditional Cobra, just with a bigger hood scoop, massive hood scoop.
Yeah.
But if that was closed, you would not know. Okay, who put the after a bonnet hood on it? You know.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the coolest one. But they had a lot of models that stood out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the GT 500, the KR.
the KR, the Little Red.
So the
Little Red
KR,
Yeah,
they were going to auction that one off at Meekum.
they
Or
were.
was it Barrett Jackson?
The
Jeremy and I were looking at the sign. They were going to put that one up for
Oh, I
auction.
didn't know that.
I don't
really.
remember which one
Yeah, I
it
don't
was going to go to, but I did read what it was going for.
Right.
And that was kind of cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're auctioning that one off, and I peeked in the window to look at the mileage on the car. 78.
There's 78-0.
Yeah. No,
078.
0-7. Yeah, 78 miles.
78 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, did you guys know the backstory of that one?
I
Let me
don't.
tell you that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this one I thought was interesting because it was 2 years ago discovered on the YouTube channel called Barn Finds from Haggerty.
Actually, I had heard that. Yeah.
So, Little Red is famous.
Oh,
we're
this
talking
is not
about
Little Red.
the-
This
the
is the one at
black
the
one?
end.
Oh, the black one. Okay, that we're talking about Little Red. Okay.
But go ahead on Little Red.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Little Red's the one that I was talking about. No idea how many miles are on that one.
Right.
But why that one is famous is it was recently discovered as the prototype to the GT 500, King of the Road edition.
Right. I think I remember you telling me
And
that.
that's what was interesting because it was lost for so long.
Yeah.
And not only was found, but when we saw the Shell Museum, it was brought back to glory.
Right.
Is that what KR stands for?
KR stands for King of the Road.
There you
Ford
go.
Ford grabbed that during the time, and I think they grabbed it in 67 for 68, and they grabbed it because I believe Chevrolet was actually planning on getting that first for the
Wait,
Corvette.
Hold on. Say that again.
Shiva who?
Chevrolet what?
Chevrolet. Chevrolet?
Chevrolet?
What did I say?
Chevrolet?
Yeah. What about Chevrolet?
Chevrolet?
Chevrolet? Is it Chevrolet? Anyways,
Chevrolet.
so Chevy
Chevy.
was apparently going to get the name first for the Corvette, but Ford was able to beat them to the punch for that.
Really? They were going to do a KR on the Corvette? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So, but yeah, so that's why it was important. So it had a bigger hood scoop nostrils on the front, bigger engine.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to be in 68 the baddest, meanest thing you can get on the road.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. And I took,
It was. I mean, what? They probably only had 15 cars, 20 cars in the
Yeah.
museum section.
something
know-
like that. But everyone had a history to it.
Yeah. there
Yeah.
was some
See,
neat
that's the
cars.
thing is they're all originals.
The first car we saw there was the last car. It was the last Cobra ever produced.
Yeah. Yep.
That was wild.
Yep.
And it was more wild to me because it was an automatic.
Which one was
It
that?
was.
The Cobra, the 289, it was 289, right?
I believe. Well,
The
his nieces or whatever.
the
that
silver one?
No, that was someone. So it was the blue one as you first went in on the right
yeah,
side.
Yeah.
The blue with gold stripes was the last Shelby Cobra ever produced. And I just put
Was that
asterisk
one
on that.
automatic? It might have been.
It was not automatic. I got a picture of the inside.
Yeah.
And that I thought was very interesting. And then on top of that, we saw the copper
The
Shelby
copper and
Cobra.
and
That one was my favorite.
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That one was cool.
Seeing it in person was just mind-boggling.
It's really cool in person. I mean, I've seen pictures of it before, but yeah, to see it in person, you're like, holy shit,
and
that's cool.
So the next two that were next to it, were they stainless steel? Were they chrome? What was that?
One was aluminum,
Okay,
and one was stainless steel.
really? Okay,
And they were both
Much
polished.
different weights.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yeah,
and those are impressive seeing those. You know.
yeah.
And then what else we had? We had Super Snakes, modern Super Snakes of Mustangs and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, didn't they have the twin turbo, 1,000 horsepower?
Yeah,
Yep, Dragster.
Yeah,
the dragster.
Yeah.
So that one was really cool.
It was like a giant arrow, just from how long it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
nose.
we talking about the same one, the Mustang? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
The one on the far right,
Yeah,
The one,
up toward the front.
the thing that you'll see at that museum again with one of their one-offs, and I haven't seen that since the Brothers collection. They had an original Daytona there, one of the 6.
Yes.
yeah, they
And
did.
that was cool. I wish we could have got a little closer to it, but they actually had the hood up,
Yep.
so you could see everything. And it was just interesting seeing how it was race car, and you could see it was built like a race
Oh,
car.
it was race car, full on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not street car.
Yeah. And then going for that, we talked about GT40s, and that seeing a real one in person, because
I know.
The day
And the history
before-
of them too is what really gets me.
right?
You know? Just the pedigree, I guess,
Yeah.
of those cars is just freaking amazing.
But it was interesting to see the day, because the day before we were at Super Performance booth
yeah,
with their GT40
yeah.
and seeing them
in
side
the
by
same
side.
livery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as much as they said that, 60% of the parts will fit in the other one,
Yep.
there's small differences. Like the one thing I didn't know until I saw the real GT40 was the seats, both of them, are moved way more inwards.
They are.
And then they're tilted
Yep.
so the driver can get to the foot pedals.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
think the
leaned.
passenger seat was moved inwards. It looked
They're
like
both-
it was out and touching the door.
Oh, it seemed like both of them, looking head on at the car, the both of them that were leaned.
Let me see if I got a
tops of the
picture.
seat were leaned to the center.
Yeah, it was something wild like that, but it was for center of gravity,
I don't know. That was kind of cool. The cockpits are very cramped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very small.
Let me see.
No room at all.
And then, did you guys notice in the back the Aston Martins?
I
Both
did.
of them, yeah.
Yep.
So, did you know reason why about that?
No.
Go ahead. I asked about it, but go ahead.
Okay. So we had was it 57 Aston Martin,
I believe
59 on one side that was green, really old, looked like a barn find, still covered in dust.
still covered in dirt.
And on the left side was a modern DB9 something, but it was very similar to that. So the story goes was the green car was the actual car that Carroll Shelby raced and won with Le Mans.
Le Mans.
Le Mans.
Le Mans.
Le Mans. Lemon?
Don't say the end.
Le Mans.
Thank you.
That he raced and won.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was cool seeing that car.
Very cool.
And it was in the back. There wasn't a lot of talk. That's the thing is, the cars that were there wasn't a lot of info on them. And I bet you it's because they had the guided tour so they could talk about that,
Right,
which we
right.
didn't do. But if you go in there already having some of this knowledge, or just looking up while you're there,
Yep.
these cars were just so special.
Yeah, I mean, think about that car. The car that Carroll Shelby drove to victory.
Yeah.
Right there.
That
It's
went
like,
through 24 hours of hell.
and literally, it looked like they pulled it out of a barn somewhere.
Yeah.
They found that car and they just pulled it in there and parked it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if that was in his collection.
very well could have been, but I don't know. They weren't super attached to those cars back then. Like
No.
it was a race car and they ditched it when they were done. So
Throw it in the gutter and go buy another.
kind of, yeah.
Right?
So that was really cool. And then the new one, the DB9 or 12, whatever it was a tribute to
To that car.
that car. And that
And I mean, just even, hang on, pull up a picture. Look at the mouth on this thing.
yeah,
And that's just awesome.
badass.
You
Yeah,
know?
pretty neat. I mean, that was a neat experience. I mean, as soon as I walked in the door of the place, you're walking into the swag, and I was like, "Damn, I didn't even think about that. I'll be spending some money here." But yeah, to
Did
tour
you buy
it,
something for Josh?
I did not. I looked. I even told him I looked for a GT350R, but they didn't have anything like that.
Beanie or something?
Yeah,
So I got
he's gonna have to go by himself.
Yes.
Anyway,
I got a question. So the GT40s, we know the gray one. I don't know the history on that one, but that was there.
yeah,
I'm looking through photos of the livery one.
yeah.
Are we sure that was an original?
I thought it was. No, I don't know anything for.
I took pictures. This was on the side of the livery one.
What's it say?
50th anniversary. You know what? I saw that too when I was looking at it. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
And I don't know if they made a continuation of it or what's going on with that.
I know, but to look at that vehicle, it looked,
Yeah.
but
It didn't look like the new version.
No.
no, not at all.
The gray one definitely on the side was definitely an original.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that leading into the next thing I want to talk about was we saw that on the placard wall of the continuation Cobras. And that
Right.
That threw me down a rabbit hole that I was going on, and I did look into it.
Okay.
So on the wall, we saw that Carroll Shelby in 1995 and 1996 actually continued a continuation line for the Cobras because they were in such high demand.
Well, let me add something to that, and you can debunk it if it's not true. But I had heard that he had a warehouse like with 50 or something bodies and chassis and that kind of stuff that he had tucked away, and that's what the continuation line was. Is that correct?
Yes. So how that worked was in 95 and 96, he did have bodies and new old stock of whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that was being built for these continuation Cobras. However, at some point, he had run out of stock and had to hire third-party companies to finish building, spare parts and bodies. This is what led me down the rabbit hole because one of those companies was Super Performance.
Right.
So why that threw me for a loop was my father's Cobra is a Super Performance Cobra, and I didn't know if it meant that the Super Performance of those, because it was a 96, of those years were actually considered a continuation car or not.
Right.
So from my research, finding out ours is not. Ours is Super Performance.
Okay.
What it came down to is in 96, the real continuation Cobras were built on the same assembly line as the Super Performance ones, but they were totally different. The Super Performances side by side, it's very, very subtle, but the hips are just a little bit taller, not much, and the front ends are just a little bit changed here and there. I really have trouble spotting them even side by side in the photos I was seeing.
Yeah.
But the other dead giveaway was, even though they're built in the same, Super Performance uses a square tubing frame, while the original Cobras, the continuation Cobras, use round tubing on that one.
Yeah.
So, again, ours isn't a real one, but still, it was interesting to find that Shelby had to go to other companies, and they went to Super Performance because they built the best replicas at the time.
Right. Right.
So they did that, and then I think they did another batch in the 2000s or so as well.
That's
But
pretty cool.
yeah, but yeah, no, there was a lot of cool cars there, and the swag was cool there.
It was. It was
Yeah,
good stuff.
there was a lot of really cool.
I bought some stuff. Couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
No, I really enjoyed going there. It was neat to be able to look into the factory floor too and see what they have going. They're modifying new vehicles to be the Shelby vehicle. But it's still neat to see. Gosh, it was big too. I don't know what they had, 20 lifts at least.
yeah, at least.
At least. I think it was probably 10 wide and 3 deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I could see that. Yeah.
It would have been cool to walk the factory floor next time.
Sort of. It'd be cool to walk the factory floor when they're working.
Yeah, that's true on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't know if they let you do that, but
maybe.
that would be neat.
But yeah,
Yeah, I would highly recommend to any project car guy if you're in Vegas. I mean, it's a short drive out to their factory, Shelby
Yeah.
American. I mean, just
it's not
look it
very
up.
far south of the Mandalay Bay.
Right. No, it's pretty close. I would highly recommend because it's free to just walk in and look at the museum.
yeah.
You're going to pay in swag because you're going to want to buy some
Oh, that's a
stuff.
fact.
And actually, I didn't think their prices were that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. It was like $20, $25 for a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I even bought a jacket my dad recommended, and a nice red one. I think it was like 105, 130.
yeah.
Yeah. And for jackets like that, a place you expect pay like $200 to $500 or something like that.
Yeah. No, they had some good stuff. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of wrapped up. I mean, I went and got my rental car and drove to
Oh,
Phoenix after that.
we had one more surprise.
I'm thinking.
Jeremy knows. As soon as we got to the airport,
Oh,
Yeah, we ran into C10 Truck Nerd.
Chad.
we couldn't get enough of it. We're like, oh, it's you.
Poor Chad was stranded at the airport for
36 hours awake.
Oh my Good Lord. That poor guy.
Yeah.
His flights got canceled and then got rerouted and then got stranded at the next airport.
He said he talked to a couple that were going to Kansas too.
Wichita, yeah.
Yeah, and they had drove from Utah because their plane was canceled, so they drove to Vegas and said it was going to be available. Rented a car, drove down to Vegas that day, and then that one got canceled.
Wow.
So,
I don't even understand why the cancellation. It was weather bad? It didn't seem like weather was bad.
No, in Colorado. They had
transfer.
Well, and then he ended up flying to freaking Dallas.
Texas.
Dallas, yeah.
And then that got
And that
delayed.
got canceled.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, I guess the wind up in Colorado was so bad that they weren't letting planes out. They were letting them in, but they weren't letting them back out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's crazy.
I think even on our way back, didn't our pilots say we were flying at half the flight? Or you had said you were at
No. That was on the way down.
Yeah.
On the way back, we were actually at cruising altitude.
Okay.
On the way down, my plane was
pretty low.
It was flying at like 15,000 feet. It was low.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, getting to the airport, it was nice seeing Chad. That definitely was a nice send off.
Yeah.
But it was also cool because people were getting ready. They were leaving SEMA, and we made more friends and more contacts were there.
Yes.
And that was nice. Like everyone was on the winding down, but still wanting to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I think Jeremy talked to, what's her name?
Yep.
Rachel.
Yep. And that was cool meeting her. And I talked to a couple that he's an auto collision specialist for some school in Florida. And it was interesting talking about him and talking about our show and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. I think we've made some really good contacts. It's going to be really fun to touch bases with those people again, get them on the show.
Yeah.
Talk about their experience for SEMA, what they've got going for projects and backgrounds and that kind of stuff. Just hopefully bring in more information and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment. Anything else, you guys?
There's so many things. But
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like SEMA is going to live on for quite a while. Things will come up. We'll remember more details and talk to more people and that kind of stuff. So
I got something to say, and I don't want me to say it. Though.
there's going to be
Don't.
a lot of those
I know.
back in the SEMA days,
possibly, yeah, I could see you swearing that out.
in the SEMA times.
When we went to, yeah,
I was disappointed at
Yeah.
one thing.
yep, don't say it.
Really?
Yep,
We saw a time machine.
don't say
We
it,
saw.
dude. You promised me you would not do that anymore.
I am going to throw this roll of tape at you.
So
anyway,
it was
think
implied.
that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Thanks
Yeah.
everybody for listening to Untitled Car Project. Hit us up on email, actually, untitledcarproject@gmail.com. And
Instagram.
yeah, we've got the Instas, we've got the Facebook, we've got a bunch of followers on there. Hit follow on our Instagram. We're trying to grow that a little bit. That'd be kind of cool. Also on the podcast, share it with your friends. If you got a car project friend and you semi like our rantings and ravings, maybe share it and have somebody else check it out too.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you think. If you got a cool project, maybe reach out to us via email.
We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have a project car guy come on the show and tell us what you're doing. Share it. Share it with everybody. We like it.
And if you guys have any recommendations for other shows that we should check out or other events, let us know.
Yeah. Yep. That's one thing I was thinking about today coming out here is like my calendar has filled up. Like I don't know that I have enough vacation time to do as much stuff as I want to do this year.
Yeah.
Last year I had a hard time using all my vacation, and now I'm probably going to use more than
Wow.
what I have.
Yeah.
Just because of the podcast and having more, things I want to go do and see and all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a good time though.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody. Thanks for listening. We're going to call it a show.
All right. Good hearing from you guys. Bye.